And Charlie, what is RPG Research?
RPG Research is an online repository of research on RPG games and their effects in all their formats, tabletop, live action, computer-based, and solo. It's a repository of research on the role-playing games and their effects on people. Which then the RPG Research Group takes and plans and implements programs to help people reach their educational, professional, entertainment, and therapeutic needs.
And educational? Did you say educational?
He did.
Okay.
Yes, it did.
And where can we
And you can find us on YouTube at youtube.com/RPG Research. You can find us on Twitter at RPG Research. And the website itself is rpgresearch.com.
If somebody asks for a generic email, they just want some information, what email would we use?
rpgresearcher.com.
Info at.
Yeah, that's old news, Charles. That's so 2 weeks ago.
Are you a mean girl now?
Info at rpgresearcher.com. Got it.
All right. So, Dan?
I'm so lame being that far behind.
Lame.
That's almost last year.
With an L on with his finger and thumb in the shape of an L on her forehead. All right.
Which, by the way, that translates in ASL.
Dan,
Trying to get the gas out of my system,
the man with the skull on his neck.
amongst other places.
What?
He's
Skull in
wearing-
my neck, amongst other
Oh,
places.
yeah.
Yeah.
Hopefully one in his head. Hopefully.
So RPG Research is a non-profit group that aggregates information on various forms of role-playing, and through scientific research and rigorous testing, we try to find out what the effects are on the various forms of role-playing, from tabletop to LARPing to computer-based or solo adventures, on on players' therapeutic, educational, or recreational activities through role-playing. People can find out information by either going to our website at rpgresearch.com, emailing us at info@rpgresearcher.com, research.com. They can also go to YouTube/RPG Research, and we have a Twitter at RPG Research. And if they want to assist us, they can help us through either Patreon or GoFundMe.
So if I want to find us on Discord, how would I do that?
That I do not know.
No, he's asking me. And I don't know.
That's a fun one.
Discordapp.com.
Let's see if there is a way to search for us there. There's a login. How does it see? Let's see if I log in, it's going to automatically put me to it.
That's the same thing here. So how do we tell people where to go?
Well,
Other than posting links everywhere.
They
right.
probably search us because there's that whole search mechanism.
Let's see what happens with RPG Research, Discord, and Google. Let's see what that does. Well, DuckDuckGo.
While Hawk's looking that up, Danielle, tell me about the trailer. The Rocket Patrol, wheelchair-friendly Rocket Patrol grenades. Propelled, there it is.
The RPG trailer is our mobile facility that we use in the community to provide services.
What is the full title of the trailer?
RPG, wheelchair friendly.
Thank you.
We community and provide services. Both with and without our trailer cars to have a fit up to 3 full in wheelchairs.
Danielle, is anybody on your connection downloading or streaming right now?
No, I spoke to transmission number.
What?
I switched to my phone data that is.
You sound like you're trying to talk to
We're
our
losing you. Danielle? I think we lost her.
Yeah, it got worse when she switched to her phone data.
Okay.
Oh, she switched connections midway. She dropped.
Yeah.
Can't do that.
I'm back.
Okay,
There we go.
what did you do?
I went on to my LTE and I was getting better stuff in, but I guess out was bad and then it froze up and wasn't working.
So, okay.
So what? I didn't hear anything about the RPG trailer. R2D2 understood you though.
Okay, it can fit up to, I think where you guys couldn't hear me, or like it can be fit up to 3 wheelchairs. It has a ramp that we can build thanks to a very nice donation from a veteran. And it takes about an hour to build, so we'd like to build a better trailer, one with a lower ride height, and then we can take up to, or ideally 6 individuals in wheelchairs in the trailer and have a successful game.
Trivia, where did we get that ramp extension and how much would it cost to buy it new?
The MDA found us a very nice veteran who donated the ramp, and I do believe that new it was $1,500.
5,000.
5,000. Okay,
$5,000
$5,000.
new.
Wow, that's a lot more than I thought it was.
Because of the handrails and everything, and the weight capacity. That was a very generous donation by him. Oh,
We're very
I
thankful.
found a Trisket.
And enjoy. We're very thankful.
yes. As much as it's a pain to set up, that was very, very nice.
Where will I find information about the RPG trailer?
RPGtrailer.com.
Correct?
You can donate to RPG Trailer by going to GoFundMe. Yeah, GoFundMe.com/RPG Trailer.
And Dan, tell me about the RPG trailer.
So the RPG trailer is a mobile facility that we
Can we use the full title?
He's new.
Yeah.
Be
Yep.
kind.
And you did say something about rocket and grenade
Yeah, you've now caused interference in this.
Yeah.
video. So what is the trailer trying to achieve?
It is wheelchair friendly.
Right, so where it's the...
It's a wheelchair friendly RPG trailer,
There you go.
which is a mobile facility that we use within the community and harder to reach areas.
Mhm.
It can fit up to 3 wheelchairs comfortably. And it is wheelchair accessible through a ramp that was generously donated to us by a veteran.
So by default, it's wheelchair accessible, but it's friendlier with the extended ramp.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
More people, more types of wheelchairs. We can get a wheelchair in and out of there with the ramp that's on it, but it's steep and cumbersome and a little scary.
Yeah.
But we can do it. It's wheelchair friendlier with the extension. So that's just so you know, because you're again, I'm filling you in because you're catching up. They've been here for a while, so I'm just letting you know that.
As phenomenal as that trailer is, we're trying to get a better one that has a lower ride height and can accommodate, I believe, 6
6 or more. Yeah.
6 or more wheelchairs. and that can be if anyone wants to help with that, they can go to, I believe, GoFundMe at RPG Trailer.
GoFundMe.com/RPG trailer.
Yes.
What is the purpose? Why would we have a trailer? Why don't we just set up in an office somewhere?
Because
Because
people will
it's
ask you
mobile.
this right away.
It's mobile. We can get to places that people may not necessarily be able to have as much mobility. Someone may be out in the boondocks and they need assistance, or we may be going someplace to, for example, a convention or a LARPing session where we may not necessarily have easy accessibility to stuff that could be found in an office. So it is a mobile facility for us.
I really liked as inaccurate as he said it, got his details. I really liked his description as a mobile living room.
Yes. Oh, you're about Ivan Van Norman.
Yes.
Yeah, I did. That was like, and the other guy was like, that sounds like my retirement.
Yeah, exactly.
Did you get to see that video yet?
I have not yet.
We've got a link in our meeting notes. So,
Okay.
do you need a laptop for the meetings, or do you have a laptop?
The laptop that I originally brought was my wife's, and my wife is currently going through stuff.
Understand.
Yeah.
Do you not have a laptop?
I do. It's a piece of garbage and barely runs Windows XP.
Okay.
Yeah.
So how do you feel about using Linux, which is free?
I would have to learn Linux.
Okay.
Yeah.
Because it can breathe new life into old, crappy computers.
It has been a I want to call it a dance partner that I've been loath to really get into, only because I know that once I get into it, I'm going to go like just hog deep into it.
It's awesome.
I've been
I do
told-
everything under Linux. I've been doing
I've-
Linux since '94 when it was a nightmare.
When you had to write every program you wanted to
Well,
use.
just to load everything was floppy disk anyway, and it is.
I started using
I'm
computers.
so much more productive with Linux than I am the Windows world. Every time I have to get on Windows, it just screeches to a halt, my productivity. And it's not because I don't know how to use Windows. I totally know how to use Windows.
Yeah.
Linux is just so much more productive for so many things, and so many hassles you don't have to deal with. Once, the setup can be the problem. Although most of the time, the Linux setup has been easier than the Windows setup in the last 5 years.
Mm-hmm.
I would gladly help you wipe that and set it up with Linux to get you going.
I would need
If
to
you want.
bring in my tech with me, because if you're explaining it to me, he needs to understand it as well. And
Your tech.
yeah, he's one of my best friends. He lives
Okay.
with me.
Okay.
Anything that deals with computers, he's my go-to person,
Okay.
because he helped me build everything.
I would gladly do so. I've helped entire corporations convert over and stuff. So.
Mhm. And trust me, he would probably want to get into it as well. It's
Okay.
been a very rough couple of years.
Failing that, because we need you to be able to stay
Mhm.
synced up with us on everything, and,
Yeah.
and I'm a little concerned that you've been missing a lot in trying to ramp you up. I'm posting stuff out there lately that's a lot of repeats for yours and Brad's benefit.
Mhm.
But these guys have already seen it. It's good for them to refresh because they're going to have it on the certification test and everything.
Yeah.
But a lot of what I posted the last 2-3 weeks is specifically for you and Brad's benefit. And have you been able to get any of it, or have you been?
I've been seeing the emails, but Black Friday has wrecked me.
Yeah, but prior to Black Friday,
Has been
Were
building
you-
up to Black Friday. Everything around Black Friday and the holiday
Okay.
season is just kind of like,
I can understand that.
yeah.
I'm just wondering if it's a technology issue, we can solve that.
Oh, at
If it's just a
home,
time thing, there's nothing we can do about it.
yeah. At home, I've got a beast of a computer.
Okay.
I'm not going to drag it here because then it's a massive setup.
Yeah. We don't do a LAN party here.
Yeah.
Okay, all right. Well, I just want to make sure that you've got the ability to.
Oh, I've got that.
And then I would like to get everybody loitering in Discord. We have a couple of new people in there that showed up just because of my Twitter. I tweeted about, hey, join our Discord server, and a couple people showed up. They've been following us on Twitter, and because we're there, and they.
Should be the general.
Yeah, be in general for now, unless we post something proprietary. General is where we want the community to build for now.
Okay.
So we've got
Damien's watching right now.
Damien's new too.
Hello, Damien.
Hello, Damien. Put the dog down, Damien. So the other ones that are new are Master Rory, who's around, and Alex the humanoid. They all joined us today. And Master Rory is interesting. He has been running 3 games a week of D&D with his friends and family. And he just found us on Twitter and saw the Discord link and was reading about the company on their website, and it said it was interesting. With family and friends. He wants to know more about our quest to determine the effects of RPGs on people, so I gave him a link to the research background landing, which is our research side. And I said, wow, 3 times a week, that's a lot. What's your group like? And he said he plays 4th and 5th edition. 4th. On Wednesdays and Saturdays, he plays with his mom, who's around 60.
Nice.
My younger sister, who's around 26. I'm 34, and we're teaching 4 of my nieces and nephews how to play 4E. I'm sorry, I just 4th. They are ages 8 to 12. Oh, why 4th? Then on Mondays, I play 5E with a group of guys in their late 20s. That's awesome. I taught my family to play. We take turns DMing different campaigns. How awesome is that? I want to get more of this in our chat room and stuff and get that community having these kinds of discussions. That's statistical information right there. It's not hard science, but it's relevant information. It's what we add, we can add to our stories and information and building the community. So get people coming to the chat room and start sharing their stories like that. That's awesome. I'm like, well, we need to find out where he is, get him on board. He's that proactive.
Right.
He sounds like a great advocate. And then the other fellow hasn't been as talkative yet. Sandra Marquis just joined the server. Welcome, Sandra.
Hey, that's your name pop up. I have online 5. Arma Kellen, Master Rory.
So maybe she dropped off before. That was at 5:30, so she may have dropped off since then.
Okay.
Anyway, so if we're hanging in there and people come in and we say hello to them, engage them in a brief conversation, like, hey, what brought you here? How can we be of service? Any questions we can answer for you. Often you'll be able to just send them a link. It'll make you more familiar with the website because they'll say, oh, I'd like to know more about this.
So
They'll search on our site, send them a link. What's that?
She came back on.
Oh, good. She may have just been in invisible mode or something like that. So if you say their name, that will often ping them to come to the keyboard. Oh, and Snaga is typing.
Speaking of Snaga,
yes.
What is that strange vehicle that's parked next to the bus in Huck's driveway?
Did we lose Snaga? I think we lost him.
He's
that's
frozen.
why.
No, you didn't.
No, okay, there you are.
Strange vehicle parked next. I don't know.
It's not about the trailer.
I was like, what's he
John likes to be
talking
cryptic
about?
sometimes.
I figured that'd be an easy one.
You're welcome to sit and
Wheelchair
comfortable.
friendly RPG trailer.
Unless that's more comfortable for you.
I'm fine with this right
Okay.
now.
Great. As you wish.
Mike,
Top?
you good?
Yep.
And we can fit up to 3 wheelchairs in currently. We have a ramp extension that we add to it on that takes about an hour to add on to the trailer that makes it wheelchair friendly. That was donated by a veteran through the MDA. Cost us about would have cost us about $5,000 brand new, but it was a wonderful donation that happened. And that's just a prototype. We have the ideal trailer that we'd like to get to, which will have room for up to 6 wheelchairs comfortably.
It's 6 or more. It's at least 6. It's 6 or more. It's at least 6.
Okay.
You set up to 6, and the goal is to go 6 or more.
And comfortably game. And it'll have a lower ride height and easier accessibility for the wheelchairs, as well as the bathroom and kitchen are all ADA accessible also.
How do I find out more about this vehicle?
RPGtrailer.com.
Okay. Of course, the other option is to ask us. So right at the top of the list here, last meeting follow-up. Last week's meeting, though, are the notes posted here? I ran the meeting over Skype. Danielle, Charlie, Dan, and myself were in attendance. Not sure how to create and share Google Docs yet. I'll figure that out. So I had notes to last week.
Have you had a chance to figure that out yet?
No, I work. It's going to give me any breaks today.
Okay. I'll give you the simple version. Point your web browser, when you're logged into Google already, to docs.google.com.
Okay.
That's the simple version. And then from there you create new, and then there's a button right in the corner that says share. You click share and you have the email addresses of who you want to share. That's the simple version.
I know that
Docs.google.com.
it's kind of connected to Google Drive. Like
you can do a lot more with drive.google.com, but for just simple docs, just docs.google.com. Drive will let you upload videos and everything else, and although you've got limits, but
Yeah, I'm on Drive.
it's all related to Drive.
Yeah.
But for the documents, that if you want to create and add documents easily and share them, docs.google.com is all you got to do.
Okay.
And then you can share them to your heart's content.
Your security camera check was referenced to actually the Monday game.
Okay, yeah.
Dan, you went home after you found out that there was nobody here?
Yeah.
So sorry, what happened there?
I checked the calendar. And like, okay, I come over and it's like, okay, no one's here. I rang the doorbell. Checked my the calendar on my phone. Realized that it's at John's place.
Which is not normally the case.
I clicked map and it gave me an address in England. I wasn't going to make that drive, no matter how hard I tried.
England, huh?
England, yes.
Wonder why I did that.
And not on the coast either. It's like the middle of England.
Weird. That's bizarre.
As much as I would love to make that drive,
Were you
not going to
messing
make
with
it.
him, John?
I didn't do it.
See, that's exactly what someone who did do it but doesn't want to find out would say.
What happened with Brad? No contact with Brad on that day at all.
Okay. What about Tuesday?
Tuesday, Brad didn't come onto onto Skype. Don't know if that's my fault or not,
Okay.
because I just pinged everybody and I may have just not pinged him.
Okay.
I don't know if he's even on my list of Skype people.
Okay. Yeah, you might want to fix that just in case. Eventually, I'm going to hand off to you some of the logins for some of these things like Skype and such,
Right.
so that you'll get the same. You'll see the same group invite, and you'll just click. You'll be in the group. You just hit invite. It invites everybody in the group automatically.
That'll be much easier. I think I invited everybody singularly and forgot somebody.
Right. Yeah. Yeah.
Sorry, Brad, if you're watching this on tape later.
Yeah. Tape.
I'm old.
Betamax.
I have a reel-to-reel. All right.
Yeah.
We played Betrayal at Baldur's Gate.
Now, what do you mean we?
We as Danielle, myself, and my wife.
Because you're the only ones that were there in person?
Correct.
Okay, that was for Monday?
That was for the Monday game.
Okay.
How
was that?
That was a good game.
Yeah.
We actually had a 100% cooperative. There was no betrayer.
Okay.
And we won.
Yeah, that is weird.
It was, there were circumstances where one of us could become the betrayer, or one or more of us could become the betrayer, but we figured it out early enough to not die. So I'm going to go through the notes and look for my copied notes in here, so I can tell you what we did discuss during the meeting. We did do the trailer and the website talking about. We did talk about the use of emailresearch.com. Okay, that's stuff we're going to go over later. Looking for my notes that are still embedded in here. Should all be in purple. And she cleaned it up since I looked at it last. Alright, okay, notes. How is everybody doing on their blogs? Everybody still blogging?
I have mine separate.
What do you mean separate?
But I haven't done. I just put it on one Google Doc for now. I thought that might be easier for like editing purposes. I did it when I wanted to go back through. Then haven't had time. But I have up stuff.
Okay.
Correct.
Alright. I need to get mine posted to the site.
Yeah, I need to do mine for the last Spark Central session that we just did. That one. Well, we'll talk about that in a little bit.
Right. And I do know there was a note before about pictures.
I need to get a good headshot for you.
I need to email pictures to Pop from Spark Central.
Oh
I
yeah,
have my journal.
good.
I have my journal that I'm writing everything down in. I just need to get the notes put onto the blog. I just haven't figured out how to do that. Have my own folder or whatever yet.
If you log in, you go to the upper right hand corner. You'll under your name, you'll select My Folder, and you'll go right to your folder.
Okay.
Under www.art2.rpgresearch.com.
Okay.
It's created automatically with your account.
Okay. Then yeah, I'm gonna start getting the journal notes put in there.
Wonderful. Thank you so much for that.
Where do you need the headshot sent to?
And get, like I said,
To
I'll
me,
email you the pictures.
rpgresearcher@gmail.com. Because if you look at the section that has each of us, what I did is I grabbed from your little resume a little black and white circle and stuck that in there for now. But you know, it's a kind of a mismatch.
I will send you one because perfect. I'm not always photogenic.
Okay. And I, like everybody else, I shot there because I used to be a professional photographer and stuff. So I have a little studio downstairs. And
Oh,
if you're not happy with the one you have, I can always shoot it later.
well, you know, I can send you. If you're not happy with the one that I'm
I'll let
sending
you know.
yeah.
I'll let you know.
So
Morse code.
What was that, Charles?
I had a friend hit me up with some feedback on one of the podcasts.
Okay.
He said he'd gotten an alert and went to watch, and he found it a bit of a turnoff that pictures were being taken to start it. The way he said it was, I don't want to see them getting their glamour shots.
Pictures were being taken to start what?
A
Our
podcast?
Huh?
I don't recall taking pictures while filming us taking pictures.
I don't remember recording while taking pictures either, but, and I tried to figure out where he got his link from. He said he got a notification on Facebook. I'll have him send me a link so I can figure it out.
Yeah, let me know. So it was while we were taking photos that we were streaming?
That's what he said. He said he was watching people get glamour shots to start off a podcast.
Well, I don't remember ever doing a podcast directly after
I
a
don't.
photo shoot.
Yeah, okay, find the link. That's confusing. Let's make sure you went to the right place.
I will do. I
Maybe I had something running and didn't realize while we were doing it. I don't know. That's weird.
Maybe there's a better looking me out there.
Yeah, see if you can get better. See if you can get better data on that, Charles.
Okay, I will do that. I'll figure out all the specifics I can.
Thank you.
Okay, sending
We
you a
were
picture now.
recording when we were doing the little headshots and thing, right?
Well, not that I'm aware of, but he's saying maybe we did. That seems weird. I don't know. That doesn't make sense, but I don't know. By the way, we are streaming right now because my laptop drive's too full to record locally. So the easiest thing is just stream it to our channel. It's unlisted, but if Carrie Lynn wants to watch the whole meeting, see, this part of the meeting is all boring though because we're not directed to the camera. But if she wants to, she could watch it. It's unlisted.
Where?
Go to youtube.com/RPG Research and go to videos, and you'll see it'll say live streaming now, and she can click the live stream.
Okay.
But it's unlisted, so it's not, making a big deal about it.
Now, Danielle Hawk attended the
Yes.
MDA group. Let's
Yeah.
go to my notes from last week.
Yep.
A lot of the information about first responder and emergency.
Yep.
And they want us to bring drums.
Yeah, so next meeting, which is this December, 3rd Wednesday of December, he wants to bring a few drums just for them to try out.
Mm-hmm.
So I'll bring like the ocean drum and some of the other fun ones that are kind of different. Won't bring the big drums, just the smaller ones that can fit on the table and such. just for them to fiddle with a little. And then January, they'd like us to actually do some real drumming and bring more.
Okay.
We just figured there won't be a lot of attendance in December, the holidays. Although they're grew, it was a little larger this time. There were more people this time. They had that whole thing on safety or preparedness. So, and we'll talk a little bit more about that meeting later too. What's that?
I do believe we need to bring at least one, if not two, of those smaller gym bays, just because I think they wanted to see if their hands would work with them, like the
Sure.
story you told.
Yeah, I'll bring whatever you think we should bring. But yeah, we weren't going to get too carried away with it.
Sparks Central, according to my notes last time, the 5 kids attended Angle at the Angle. Hawk DM'd. Child called himself stupid. We talked a little bit how you dealt with that. We'll hear more when we go deeper in the meeting. Sparks is offering incentives for playing Dungeons & Dragons now. Also, we need RPG book donations, 5e starter set. I talked to my store about donating, and they're looking into making some donations, maybe a starter set and a map board for them to draw maps on.
Okay.
Pawns, I think if we're going to try to get a donation for pawns or miniatures, we should go with the cardboard pawns.
What are pawns?
Pawns are the cardboard versions of the minis.
Okay.
They're 2D minis.
Yeah.
You can get like 300 in a set.
That's fine by me.
Because that would take up the least amount of space for them, and it's the cheapest way to get a bunch of minis.
Yeah.
But I did talk to uncles in the valley about that.
Okay.
We talked about ASL
And
meeting group.
To clarify, we welcome donations, and we are.
Incoming message.
Can you put that on vibrate, or will it let you? We are a Washington State nonprofit corporation, but we are not yet a 501c3, so their donation is not tax deductible at this point.
I suggested this as a donation directly to Spark, which
Okay.
is a 501c3.
They are a 501c3.
Right.
Yeah. If they donate them to Spark, then that would be tax deductible. So yeah, the problem is if you donate books to a community center, they almost always walk if they don't have a rigid oversight. They will disappear within weeks. Community centers and libraries have a lot of trouble hanging on to role-playing game books. They get stolen very quickly. So that's the challenge there. They kind of have to be under lock and key or they walk.
Right. It's something for when we're not there.
I understand.
Yeah.
Right, and that would be awesome. But they'll need to put it like in a cabinet so that it's only taken out at certain times.
And people have to sign it out.
So it's checked in and out, exactly. It needs to be kind of under lock and key. Or it will go into a
It would be
backpack.
like the other stuff they had displayed from STCU where you have to check it out now.
Right. Yeah, they would need to put it in the protected area. So other than that, yeah, great. That would be awesome. I think that would be really great.
How well would they be able to use like some of the beginner stuff that's for free?
Once they've played a game once or twice, they should be able to jump right into it. Yeah, 5e is really easy to jump into once you kind of have the experience. When you've never done it, it's daunting.
Yeah.
Once you've done it, it's a piece of cake. And Danielle here, right? She got into it pretty quickly, and we kind of started with the starter stuff, and she picked it up quickly.
Yeah, the starter set's a really good introduction
Yeah,
to how to play.
yeah. They walk you through stuff, and they assume you have no prior role-playing game experience, and just walk you through spelling out. They make the rules simpler version. They give you pre-mades, and they walk you step by step. And then when you've done that, then they say, now if you want to go next thing, here's what you need to do next. So
Yeah.
they work pretty well.
Everybody's expressed interest in future attendance to ASL. Hopefully we can start getting more of us to show up for those. And that is weekly, correct?
What is?
ASL.
ASL is weekly on Saturdays from 4 to 6. 4 to 5 is for absolute beginners. 5 to 6 is for intermediates on up, but well, beginners are welcome because it helps you receive, to be watching people signing and everything. Just had somebody in class today, she'd heard me, because I was talking to the professor about the deaf community, because it came up in our cognitive neuroscience class, and she's like, are you part of the deaf community or something? I'm like, well, I used to be really heavily involved, and I wrote a weekly site. Oh, and she's hard of hearing. She's losing her hearing, and so she's taking a year of ASL, but she hasn't anywhere to practice. Well, come on down to a study group on Garland. So it's the Garland Rocket Bakery. And, yep, that's great. We may have to move to another place if it keeps growing, but so far it's okay. In addition to that, I'll talk about that. I got stuff for that too.
Right. Next thing was we talked about the hunt and settlement and how we're unable to schedule at this time, but we were able to try again in summer to make a meetup for them.
But they have not replied to that, and I'm worried that we got some old curmudgeon somewhere who put the kibosh. I get the feelings that some older person from the 1980s put the kibosh on this because of misconceptions about it.
Right.
That's the feeling I'm getting, because it just went. She was so excited and on board and had been for over a year, and all of a sudden, just before we ever got to do our presentation. So.
Which is a shame.
Yeah.
By chance, do you know if one of the residents there is Dr. Frederick Wortham?
Which one?
Dr. Frederick Wortham was wrote Seduction of the Innocent and started a lot of the whole,
Comic books.
Anti-comic books, anti-movies, all of that started with him.
Huh.
Yeah.
And I'm only familiar with the role-playing
He
game
should not be alive anymore.
Yeah.
I think he would
So
be
the guy I know is
90
Dr. Radecki.
or something like that now.
Dr. Radecki helped form the National Council on Television Violence, and he partnered with Patricia Pulling for Bobbin about Dungeons and Dragons, and they were all over 60 Minutes in 2020, and the Canadian Broadcast Company, and they were all over in the 80s. And Radecki kept getting arrested and going to prison for malpractice for trading medication prescriptions for sex.
I heard about that.
Finally, he's in prison.
Yeah.
But he kept getting his license revoked, not quite going to prison. Finally, recently, he went to prison for the third time of doing this that he got caught.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Dr. Frederick Wortham was active during the Red Scare.
Okay.
Yeah, and he was a psychiatrist who published Seduction of the Innocent and basically tied comic books, movies, and a whole bunch of other things to juvenile.
It goes on, and that's why advocacy, that's why being an RPG advocate is so important. Is to have the answers to that. That's excellent. Can you send me a link on that so I can? That would probably be worthwhile adding to our knowledge.
Oh, absolutely. I actually did a paper on that while I was in high school. I'm really
better yet. Add the paper to the website.
Oh well, no, that's high school paper. I'll find something a bit more.
You can anonymize it. Okay, if I rewrite it for a modern version, that is a totally applicable paper to have on our site.
Yep.
And I welcome others.
It's also potentially in Florida.
Okay.
Yeah.
That could be wrong. At least send me the link.
I will send you information on Dr. Frederick Wortham because I've got a problem with him and a lot of the stuff that he started.
Great. And we have a glossary section of the website where you have terms and definitions and people, and you could totally write that section. Create a little thing, entry for him, and then and your references. Always include references when something like that.
Yeah.
Especially if it's controversial.
Yeah.
But you totally go on our website, go to our archives, primary, you'll see a glossary index, go to there, and you just add new page, and then you create that index.
Yeah.
And you will add to our glossary, which then will show up in the search engine and everything else. So I totally encourage you to take that. I'll gladly help you through if you have any trouble doing that.
Oh yeah. Just
so all of you, if you have tidbits that you think are appropriate like that and you're passionate about, get your passion onto the website. That's how this website grows and serves others, and that's how your passion has a multiplicative capability to help others. So, cool. All right. Anything else before we get to today's
progress
notes?
discussion. VA. I'm going to hopefully in the next 2 weeks we'll get a pulse check.
Okay.
If not, at least without a pulse. If pulse check or not, I'm going to at least try to get a scheduling done up for the VA training.
Okay.
Meanwhile, we still have VA training available for PTSD on the web.
Yes.
You've already done a bunch of them.
Train. Yeah, I've got 5 or 6 of them.
So check out VA Train. We'll have Hawk post a link at some point.
If you go, that should already be up there multiple times. I've posted it multiple times in our meeting notes.
Okay.
VAtrain.
I meant for the new people.
Yeah, let's see. VAtrain.org. Nope. That's not it. VHA.train.org. put that in today's meeting notes.
Danielle will talk later about the SLAPC and the issues with fixation with part of the training we had to with the child.
What?
You're cutting out. All I heard was my name.
You need to talk about SLAPC.
Oh, Slapsy would have been productive, but we had someone who felt like they were being left out of another activity because he wanted to go with the hyperactive kid who has other problems, who's being a disturbance, and do another activity and not do any of the activities that we were doing. So he blurted out quite a few times and made it so that my entire Slapsy experience was kind of muddled. I came back from it, we were able to play, and he had fun, but there was always a weird air.
So it doesn't sound like the programs over there are going that well for you.
No, well, some of them are. Everyone really liked the RPG, and I had about 50% of the kids who don't like to get up and do things want to play it again. And they asked me about it.
Okay.
But the other, about 50% of the kids, and they're the same ones who wanted to go and just play in the rec room, was the other child who wasn't capable of being in the programs that day, who did not want anything to do with it, only want to get up and do activities.
Right.
Didn't
Okay.
want to sit down at all. So.
Well, and if you'd had other staff, that would have been an opportunity for some kind of LARP or something. Not necessarily
no way I can LARP with you.
not a combat LARP, but just something where they're moving around and moving. Physically, just being more ambulatory.
Yeah, we made a puzzle game. My roommate.
So here's the question. Have you been able to run a role-playing game for the community once a week yet?
No.
Okay, because remember that's the goal that all of us were doing something for the community. Like I got sign language every week plus Spark Central each month. That we're doing something to engage with the community that through us in some way related to what we're doing. At least one free community thing a week. And that when all of us are each doing that, then we'll start trying to get the billable services and stuff that can start helping to pay for these things. But I wanted to get all of us giving to the community one session a week. And then that will be, this isn't the primary reason we do it, but as a secondary benefit, that will start to get attention, press, whatever, and then it'll also make it easier to then sell the programs that are billable to fill in the other days of our week over time. And eventually get everybody where we transition from, okay, we're doing charity programs, to those who want to go to RPG Therapeutics can start doing paid services. But everybody's got to get the experience and cut your teeth for a while.
Yeah.
So part of doing that, now John has been doing weekly programs at Uncle's and conventions and everything for years. John has totally got that going. He's been out there advocating for D&D and role-playing gaming for years and years. So he's got that covered between Uncle's and everything else. The rest of us need to be doing something once a week. I've got sign language weekly. I got Spark Central once a month, and I'm out there doing everything else. I think I've got that part covered right now. Do you think that's fair? I don't want to be hypocritical. I want to make sure everybody feels I'm not making you guys do something more other than I'm doing. But we want to get Charles. Charles was working on something at Deer Park.
Youth for Christ wants a meeting with Charles in January.
You got a meeting in January, Charles?
Yes, with Daniel for the Youth for Christ group.
Okay.
As well as this week I got a connection that's starting to form up with a retirement home here in Deer Park. They may want to have some games.
Okay. Good. So keep working that so we get you so you're doing something once a week.
Right. The retirement one is still in the early stages.
Okay. And eventually, we want. Okay, I understand. All these things take time to slowly generate. Can't be too pushy or alienate them. But we just keep at it and we get there. Like the Spark Central thing went on for 6 months before we finally met and nailed something down.
I'm also, I might have a lead. I don't know if it's going to be more hours for rec therapy or if I'll be able to use role-playing games. Because the population is a little unknown, but there is someone from St. Louis who's working at Rockwood, the hospital. You can Rockwood.
Okay.
And he's going to be running programs for a long-term stay unit in the hospital.
Okay.
And she wants us to come and run things. So I don't know if that's somewhere where I can use role-playing games or if I'm just going to be using my therapeutic stuff.
When you say us wants us to come run things, you're talking about your class?
Yes.
Okay. I didn't know if you meant us as in RPG research or us as in your class.
Sorry.
Okay, yeah, do. Okay, well, keep us posted on that then. You have time. We're not pushing you yet to get out there. You know, what we're hoping you'll be able to do is help us with the existing programs and get the experience of watching how we do stuff.
And that's my plan right now.
Exactly.
Because I'm
You're
here to
under
be
no
properly
pressure.
integrated into the community.
Exactly,
Yeah.
exactly. And you'll just, you know, Charles has, you know, moved here fairly recently too. And so you've got time. And we're all volunteers, right? And there's no, like, if you don't do this right away, nothing's going to happen to you. It's just, we're just encouraging each other. Like, okay, this is our goal. Let's keep working towards our goals. And we need to speak them out loud so that we're all on the same page.
Yes.
Okay. John, are you done with those notes yet? Because we still have to get into today's meeting.
I will make this very fast.
Okay, all right.
I paid my RPG, my registration renewal. I paid that. Mental health first aid, general first.
It's his registration as a recreational therapist.
Right. I've repaid for that. Now, mental health first aid, general first aid, CPR. My mother's an instructor and is interested.
For all three?
All three.
Ooh, she'll do a group thing maybe?
That's what I'm working
That's
on.
what you're about to say, yeah.
Yes.
Nice.
We're trying to get her.
All right, let me know when that'll run, and I'll try
yeah.
to budget for that. I'll need a month or two of advance notice, but I would totally get all of us, if I can afford it, pay for all of us to get that. That would be awesome.
That would be great.
I'm
Yeah.
sure
After
my
that, you
mother
keep your own
would gladly
going, but-
keep the price down as low as possible.
Great. You know, what I try to do is get you guys hooked, like get you certified, and then you got
The first one's free.
Exactly, exactly. Just like the games.
Yeah.
It's an effective marketing technique.
Dan preparing 5e homebrew to our schedule tentative through next week. Are you close to ready for that?
I'm trying to get through with it, but I'm
Black Friday.
Black Friday and overestimating how much I can actually get done with a lack of my resources.
Got it.
Yeah, but I've actually been plugging away at it. I've got a story. It's just a matter of getting the stuff prepared for you guys.
Other than mentioning Ivan, again, Van Norman, we've already talked about him, so that's the end of my notes
Okay, thank you.
from last week.
Thank you very much, John. All right, so today, we got that for last month. Okay, new business. Columbia Chronicle interview article was published today. So they interviewed me a while ago. They did not use much of my content.
They use much of anybody's content.
They mostly went with Wheelhouse and Birkenstock. They had a little bit of our stuff in there. She interviewed me for over an hour and had a lot more content. And I gave a lot more examples, but, you know, it's a student thing, so. They mentioned us, that's great.
Second to Burkoff.
What's that?
I thought you had like 3 or 4 quotes.
She had 2
Burkoff only
sentences.
had 2.
No, there was more than that. It was fine. I'm not worried about that. There was a lot more there. The article was a lot lighter than I expected. With the
Right.
questions, she asked some really good questions. They were deep, in-depth questions, so I expected a lot deeper article, and it barely scratched the surface. So, oh well. But still, you know, it's more press. That's all good. And so I've shared that in the Discord chat room. I don't know that I shared it on Twitter or anywhere else yet, did I? If you guys notice that I share something in one place, like Discord or something, or Twitter or vice versa, please then pick it up and share it everywhere else.
I'm going to make sure that my friend friend John, who actually keeps track of Twitter, has you guys following.
Great. Because it's those retweets that are much more powerful when they're outside of ourselves.
Yes.
Anyway, so that's great. That finally came out. Still no word on that other guy that I'm afraid I pissed off. that I took too long to get him the photos and stuff, so I don't know what's going on with his posting. Tomorrow I am meeting at 2 p.m. with Brooke Lively of the MDA for planning our 2018 schedule, including the summer camp stuff. Now, by the way, as we talked about briefly before, when we were at this meeting with the MDA, Danielle and I, we just learned when we were there that Brooke has recently developed some ailments last few months, including numbness and weakness in her left side and left side facial drooping. When they were scanning her with an MRI, they found a tumor in her skull, kind of like John McCain's, Senator John McCain's. But they ruled that out as the cause of her other problems. That was not in the right part of the brain to be causing it.
So,
which means they still don't know what's wrong with her. And now she's trying to get her insurance, who hasn't been willing to cooperate, to pay for the insurance to pull the tumor out of her skull. So, however you do it, send your best wishes for her health and whatever you can by whatever method you use. But I'll be meeting with her tomorrow. She's still working, even though she's really struggling right now. So send your positive thoughts out to her. So we're planning that out. So at the very least, we'll be continuing the MDA monthly meetings. Sounds like we're going to get more engaged with those over time, which was the hope. And then, but those always be little things because they're just little community meetings once a month. But it's good to be part of the community. But then the summer camp thing, I'll be getting a schedule from her, and then I'll come back to you guys next week, and we can start figuring out what we want to do for next summer. I will also ask her about, because the staff at the camp had said, "Will you train us?" And it sounded like they're willing to pay for us to train their camp staff. So this may be an opportunity to follow up on that as well. I don't know exactly how that relationship is over there. But this is a step towards, so for the summer at some point we will be, because that was a great program. And I don't think we'll have to kill ourselves as much this time around now that we've done it before. That first time around there's been an awful lot of experimenting to figure out what worked. Now we're like, okay, we got a pretty good idea what works. Now we just need to get new shields and then do the replacement inserts, not the full shield or something to make that, because that was so much work that poor Ryan and Jacob did. They were a winner, though. They were a total winner. Let's see. And we need to make sure that if we do another LARP quest, that all the improvements I talked about for that are addressed from last time.
Especially the accessibility improvements.
Yeah. So, enthusiastic support by Ivan Van Norman on D&D Dragon Talk Wizards of the Coast, which included Shelley Mazanoble and Greg Tito as hosts. I have the link in our notes. I'll go ahead and post it again in Discord.
Do you want to, since we're doing I would say, if you're just live streaming, do you want to put that in Discord for people to
Yeah, sure, why not? Go ahead. Do you have the link, or do I need to?
I have to open it up. I have to open up YouTube.
Okay.
Did you post it or am
I just posted it, yep.
Okay, so I'll stop looking for it.
Yeah, it's in the general channel. We don't normally stream that live, but since we are right now, what the heck.
Okay. You might get some interest.
So did you guys check that Twitch video out at all?
I did.
Yeah. Anybody else?
I did. And
I have not yet.
shared it to Facebook too.
Good. What about you?
It was definitely an enthusiastic little plug there.
Yeah.
We just say we need to pay attention. We just need to pay attention to the fact that people are starting to really worry about the organization on the website.
Yeah, well, yeah, tell me about it. Yeah, because he was like, yeah. Well, I need help with that.
I wish I was the computer brains.
Yeah. Okay, so if we jump to 3242, to it. I wish that was up and, oh, it did come back up now. I'm doing it a little bit. Okay, 3242. I'm going to turn my audio back on here.
And just a side note, so the connection is made. Ivan Van Norman is the one who wrote the ABCs of RPGs.
Okay. I'm not familiar with that.
That was the book that I put a link up to a few
Okay.
weeks ago.
Okay, all right.
I believe that was in Discord. I put that link.
Okay. But in addition to that, he's all over the place. He seems to be pretty popular in the geek culture community. Like that Paranoia clip that you posted, Charles, with he's GMing and it's got Felicia Day, Will Wheaton, and I don't know the other people, but a whole.
Mercer,
Oh yeah, right.
It's a
Kurt
coloring
Roll
book.
guy. Yeah.
Yes, they do. A lot of them, we talked about this.
the Geek and Sundry people. It was a bunch of them.
Yeah.
A little bit at the end, too.
It's just our bandwidth's getting too choked. Anyway, if you haven't checked it out yet, check that link out. Jump to that section if you want, or watch the whole thing. Really enthusiastic support. But yeah, also saying it's horrifically disorganized on the website.
He said that with enthusiasm.
He did. It was enthusiastically disorganized. I'm trying, man. You know, I have those landing pages and the links, and it's just we have massive amounts of data, and I'm trying to make it easier. Because right now the only way to get stuff is go through University Index, and you think I'm disorganized. Oh my goodness, the university searches are a nightmare to find this stuff, right? And I'm categorizing and making tags and keywords, and you know, I've made it so you go to one page and go, here's the keyword I'm looking for, click, boom, here's everything I need, so you can drill down. It's a massive undertaking, and I need help, which we'll get into. So anyway, that was wonderful to get that. I hope. Now, the thing that I noted, though, is that they stated, oh, we're booking them right now for our next show. I haven't heard a peep. I even tweeted right shortly after when he let me know, because he called me to let me know. So I tweeted a thank you to him, but I also CC tweeted them, however, also tweeted them as well to let them know what my Twitter handle was. No response. And what's interesting is Shelley said she'd never heard of us.
My wife's very first thing she said was, but she's the one who got you the license.
She gave me the license, but she's the one who handed me off. So she's the one, I made a kerfuffle during the summer that I was trying to get into my license, and I got shot down by a tier 1 sport person. And so I made a big, not a big stink, but I made it public. And then Shelley saw it and Facebooked me and then forwarded me to the right departments and pushed to get me into the right departments and got that taken care of. And Shelley was the key to that happening.
And then forgot about it.
And apparently she's got short-term memory loss or something. I don't know. It all fell out of her head. That's sign language fell out of your head. I love that. It's fun sign language. Forget, you erase your brain, fell out of your head. Anyway, so I here's what I'd like to suggest. All of you, let's do a little guerrilla marketing here. And all of you watching on the stream, and any of you supporting us on Patreon, etc., start either Twittering or emailing. Twittering is probably going to be more effective. When it's public, it seems to work better.
Right.
Facebook, Twitter, Twitch, Geek and whatever. Start sending messages to the D&D Dragon Talk folks. Say, hey, when are you going to get those people that Ivan Van Norman mentioned for the RPG Therapeutics, RPG Research stuff? We focus on RPG Research, but
yeah,
the RPG Research folks on your show. That sounded great. When are you going to get them on there? And just totally guerrilla it. Like, don't say you're from there. That was how I got on KXLY. I tweeted as my ASL user or something like, hey, you know about this trailer that's, for disabilities and stuff? And next thing you know, what's her name? The news reporter from KXLY is like, hey, can I interview and have you on our show and stuff? You're calling me. Because some third party sent them to look it up. Never works if it comes straight from you. The self-promoting thing, whatever. So if you guys can, from your own emails, just start pinging them, they get enough of those requests, then they'll, but say, we saw you, we saw you on that show with Ivan Van Norman. He mentioned this RPG therapy group. And you guys said you're booking them. When are they going to be on your show? I'd love to see that.
I got 30 Twitter followers. Maybe one of them will pick it up.
Yeah. but if you tweet at them, you got to tweet at the Dragon Talk folks. If enough people do that, then we'll get somewhere. So, because that would really help. We, the board, need to schedule a meeting for December because our fiscal year is going to end, and it'll be we've only been around for a quarter, but we need to have our quarterly meetings. So, Danielle, you still with us, Danielle? Okay.
Yes, I'm still here.
Charles, remind me, are you on the board as well?
Yes, I am.
Okay. And then Drake and John and myself are all on the board. So we need to pin down when we're going to have our board meeting in December.
Thursday or Friday good for you?
I can do a Thursday or Friday for the most part, yeah.
Okay. I am open for all Thursdays or Friday through December at this point.
Okay. Danielle, Charles?
As long as it's on Monday or Tuesday.
Charles?
I'm good for Thursday. I'm good for a Thursday or a Friday.
How about, I'm nervous about Fridays. Let's see, what was I going to do Thursday? Oh, that's not till January. So how is, I want to wait till finals are over, which is next week.
Please.
Yes. How is Thursday because the 15th, okay, but that falls in, no.
15th is a Friday, so
That's the
Thursday
third Friday.
14th.
That's right, right before Sparks. So how about Thursday the 14th? Do you guys just want to do 6 o'clock here, or what do you want to do? We can do it at a restaurant, we can do it wherever, as long as we have a meeting.
Thursday.
What's that?
You said the 16th, correct?
14th. It's Thursday the 14th. The 16th is Saturday.
I'm on the wrong month.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's good.
14th. Charles?
14th works for me.
Okay, what do you want to do 6 o'clock here at my house or something else?
I'm good with at the house.
I'm good on your house.
Okay, so December 14th, 6 p.m. Hawks House. So, all right, good. We're being nice board members and taking care of that. Now, are we meeting tomorrow evening at the bank for the bank account?
Did we
4:30?
set a schedule? Yes.
Yeah, I think I can do that.
Yeah, it was like 4 o'clock or 4:30. 4:30 because I have to get here.
Yeah, 4:30. Just don't meet later because they'll close at 5. So
But we're gonna meet at the bank at
at the
4:30.
STCU right here on Hastings.
Okay.
On Hastings?
On Hastings. It's just west of 395 on Hastings. It's right by Meade High School. Is that okay? Because in the email you said it was okay, Danielle.
Yeah, I just didn't put it on my phone.
Okay,
I'm
good.
doing that right now.
Yeah, good. So I will see the both of you tomorrow at 4:30 at the bank, so we can get that account created. This is for the actual company bank account. Everything's been through my own accounts up to now. We're trying to get all that separated. Okay, good. See, exciting stuff, huh? All right.
So fast.
What's that?
That it's all happening so fast.
It is. Oh my goodness. I mean, think about it. A year ago, it was just me. I just got in the trailer in September, October. Actually, I first got in August, but that one got vandalized. Someone stole all the copper out of it. I was going to use one for half the price. And then I went to go get it, and they're like, sorry, it got gutted. Holy crap.
Jeez.
So I ended up buying a new one instead. Because they were giving a screaming deal. They were originally selling for 30 grand, and they dropped it because the owner's daughter has MS or something, is in a wheelchair, and so I was so excited I was doing. He was going to sell it to me for 13 grand, but somebody gutted it on the lot. Stole the fuse panel, all the wiring, just all the copper. Yeah, that sucked.
Yeah.
You know what? I'd be nearly paid off already if I bought that one. I've been able to. And the nice thing about it, it didn't have the slope in the floor. It was flat, and it was a lower ride height, and it had a checkerboard floor, kind of like a chess set, which was kind of cool. It was actually a better layout than this one, and I could not find another one like that. So I went with this new one instead. But anyway, okay, so that was an adventure. Okay, so here's another tidbit. As I was heading out the door last week to Tucson to go visit my mom for Thanksgiving, one of the neighbors, who he and I have had a pretty good rapport over the years, and my boys have helped him with computer tech and other things, and he's been nice enough, and he's kind of a little bit into C.S. Lewis and stuff like that too, so we had some good conversations. But came up to me and said, so 3 or 4 of the other neighbors and himself are fed up with looking at the trailer and bus in the driveway. And crap. And I knew it was, might be annoying. Some people here are very appearance oriented, not the deepest folk. He knew this was all, the reason why I got him was to do all this charity work and all this stuff to help the community, and that, try and keep costs down by having it in my driveway rather than in a storage place, which would eat up a lot more money. It's all coming out of my own pocket right now. And the little bit of money we do have coming in through the Patreon isn't even close to just even that storage, let alone the payments and insurance, and so he understood, even though it annoyed him.
Yeah.
But now they had 3 or 4 neighbors come to him. They weren't willing to even come talk to me. I don't know if it's because I'm 6'7" or what, but they wouldn't even come talk to me about it. They all went to him and said, "Can you do something about this?" Now they had already gone after my neighbor here for parking his RV. He has a big, huge bus of an RV. It's gorgeous, and he would park it in front of his house sometimes for a week or 2 at a time. It was a little annoying, but I'm like, whatever. He's not blocking it. I have a very live and let live and a little more libertarian viewpoint of property and all that. And I'm not going to impinge on others. And but they eventually sicked the sheriff on him. And since he was parking on the street, that worked.
Yeah.
So I talked to the county today, and they said I'm not violating any codes, and technically the neighbors can't legally do anything because it's in my driveways, as long as I keep it in my driveways.
Yeah.
But I don't want to be at war with my neighbors, and I'd hoped that we would be further along, and that we'd make enough money that I could afford storage and stuff like that. But the bus is what did it. Because the bus is ugly. that made them snap. And it's especially this neighbor right across the way, who they've always been very shallow people. And so it is what it is. I don't want to be at war with my neighbors, so I got to figure out somewhere to put it. So I looked at storage. Storage is going to be a minimum $300 to $400 a month for covered storage for the trailer and the bus. And that's just barely squeezing into a 624 square foot space, or whatever. So on the drive back yesterday, I was like, if I'm going to spend $300 or $400 a month just to store something, that's what irks me. It's like, it's not even using it, right? It's not even use that for an office or something. But to just store something, to spend that much money, and I have a fiduciary responsibility to try to make sure as much of the money that we do get goes straight to the community that we're serving, and as little into overhead as possible. Now, again, we don't have much money coming in for that to be an issue yet, but someday that will be the case, and I need to set it up so that it isn't one of these companies that, 96% to administrative overhead, only 4% to the community. I do not want us to be one of those companies. I'd like it to be the other way around, where we're lean and mean, and it's not pretty, but we give as much goes directly to the programs for the community, and as little to niceties as absolutely necessary. And we just lost Danielle.
We miss you, Danielle.
She'll be back, I hope. So it occurred to me, though, if I could find a warehouse cheap enough, it doesn't have to be a bare bones warehouse, then that could become potentially usable
online?
space.
Yeah, I just wrote at Shelley at Greg Tito, you were talking to at Hydra Lord about RPG Research at RPG Research, and said you're going to book them right away. When will that episode broadcast?
There you go. Okay, Danielle's moving around. Okay, she's back.
Okay, I'm back.
Okay, good.
I'm having an
Okay, so anyway, I'm now instead of looking at storage sheds, they're going to be $300-400 a month. That's an easy one.
Mm-hmm.
I'm trying to find a warehouse that is hopefully around 1,000 or more square feet, which isn't a lot more, but it would allow room for the other trailer when we get that eventually. But if we get around 2,000 or more square feet, we then have space to do some of our programs, like drum circles or LARPs or the VR dream that I have about using Google Paint, painting the whole 3D world out and put on the glasses and walk through this whole fantastic. I don't know if you caught my articles on that.
I haven't.
It's using VR to supplement LARP experience and such.
Okay.
Because it's going to happen. And I already have a computer science background, so that's always going to tie in where it makes sense.
Mm-hmm.
I want people to unplug, but I'm also not afraid to use tech either. So
you want people wireless?
What's that? I want people wireless?
Yeah.
Yes, of course. Yes, definitely. And there's this great Chinese set that works.
See, there's
really
no
well.
strings on me?
Yes. I'm a real boy. So I did, the average is between, the general range is between 45 cents to 85 cents per square foot for warehouses outside the city.
Mm-hmm.
There's more, way more in the city. They're like $8 a square foot or more in the city. But I found a few in the 20-cent range. Again, not in the nicest areas.
Mm-hmm.
Probably bare bones, but at least there's a few out there. And that would put at 40 cents a square foot, we could get 1,000 square feet for $400 a month. At 20 cents, we could get 2,000 square feet for about $400 a month.
Mm-hmm.
So that means there's a possibility. So this is just in 2 days of looking on the road on the drive up here back to Tucson,
Mm-hmm.
and a little bit this afternoon. So I'm going to start checking out and researching and learning more about warehouses in the area. All of you keep your eyes and ears open.
Mm-hmm.
Our budget is only $300 or $400 a month because it's all coming out of my own pocket. And it's going to be straining the bank as it is with everything else I'm doing here.
Yeah.
I'm going, ouch. But since I have to spend $300 or $400 a month no matter what, storage or warehouse, we might as well get the most bang for our buck. And so, now the good thing is, since I found out I'm not breaking any laws, I can pretty much tell nicely the neighbors to off until I find a good place to move the trailer and the bus. But I'm going to move the stuff out so they can wait until I can do so. At least I don't have to worry about the sheriff knocking down my door.
And you tell until I find a location. By the way, you can help me look for a location.
Why don't you donate? Yeah, help me find a So anyway, I'll let them know, and I'll let him know. I'll like, okay, I'm actively looking, but here's what I have to do because of how much it costs, and it will take away from my ability to fund our other programs for the community. So feel guilty.
So,
yes.
another thing that you might want to look into is abandoned shops, because some of the one bay ones are $300-400 a month, and they're one bay, but usually they have a spot so you can like pull something in sideways.
Yeah, and some of those came up in the warehouse listings. Most of those, because of their zoning, they're multiple dollars per square foot. Because they're zoned for...
I just know there's some...
Yeah, but because they're zoned for auto shops, they're different zoning, they tend to be $1 or $2 or more per square foot. But I will keep my eyes open, and you, of course, if
I
you...
know that some of them out in the valley are less.
Okay, well, so far those haven't turned up, but if you find any, then I'll keep my eyes open for that as well. I'm not picky. I'm like, just give me some protected square footage. If we can get it temperature controlled a little bit, like it has a heater and it has an AC, great. That would be better, but it's not a deal killer. If it has a toilet, great, but it's not a deal killer. Mm-hmm. Right now it's just storage plus. If we could find something that's secure enough and a little bit temperature controlled, my house is overflowing between drums and LARP stuff and furniture for the convention. And if we did get a nice enough space, then it'd be really nice, but good enough, we can then potentially host the con stuff, So lots of possibilities. If we get something big enough for the drum circle, this group here who wants to do a monthly drum circle to raise money for us, we could do the drum circle at the warehouse, right? I mean, so it opens up possibilities. So again, try and turn the lemon into something, you know, positive. Here.
Lemonade.
So, exactly.
Or margarita.
John, you look like you want to say something.
I did. I'm trying to remember what it was.
Okay.
Oh, I
Yes.
have trailers and air conditioners. Not trailers, I have heaters and air conditioners.
Yes.
Like for rooms, sticking windows and things like that.
Yes.
I don't need my air conditioners if we need
Okay.
to install them in whatever space
Okay.
we have.
Cool. And I have a number of those as well, as you know. So we'll see. So I've just started this. This just started yesterday. And
I saw
we
the
will-
post.
Yeah, so we will see, but I would like to take care of it as soon as possible. This, of course, takes away from my time to do other things, but it's a necessity. So there's all that. Patreon supporter live broadcast tonight at 9 o'clock Pacific time. So watch for that, Patreon supporters. We will have a private link for it. Preparing for ZoeCon 3. Okay, I'm going to go through these checklists quickly. Unfortunately, since Brad couldn't join us, I'll have to leave those question marks. So, just updating again, it's February, Bellingham. I did book that hotel room, $99 a night. Just wanted to verify who is going to ZoeCon 3. Dan, yes or no?
No.
Okay.
Wish I could though.
I understand. Okay, Danielle, I see you said yes. You can drive the van or would like to ride an SUV if possible. Danielle, did you find out if you had a place to stay?
I have not.
Okay.
I'm going to message
So-
her now.
Because you might want to use your van if that is not certain. But we'll see.
Okay.
Drake is a yes. Better because I bought his ticket. Jacob seemed interested, but I don't know if he's going to follow through. John?
I
You're
paid.
definitely a yes, okay. Are you bringing your wife along or not? I wasn't clear if that was happening or not.
I haven't even brought that up to my wife.
Carolyn, okay. Wasn't sure. That's another ticket.
Right.
But I'm just checking if that was something she was...
I didn't sound like something. The fact that she wants to start working with SpoCon and wants to go to Gen Con is about as much of a miracle as I can handle.
Yeah, no, you don't want to push it. Okay, who will be riding with me in the SUV just so I know what to plan for? So John, maybe Danielle,
Yeah.
okay, Drake, Katie. Charles, are you going? Why is his name not on there? What the heck? Charles,
That's what I was wondering.
what the heck? Where'd your name go? How'd that fall out of there? What, are you coming as well?
Yes, I'm coming, and I'll have the money for the ticket next Tuesday for you.
Okay, did I already get you a ticket?
You said you were going to.
Well, did you get an email link with a ticket saying this is yours? Weeks ago, months ago, whatever?
Don't believe so. I can check my...
Please do. I thought I sent both you and Danielle a link.
I have mine.
Yeah, you have yours, yeah. I got yours more recently.
Did you send it to the Hotmail or to the Gmail?
No idea at this point. But look for ZoeCon or ticket. Will you be riding with me in the SUV, Charles?
Yes, please.
Okay, so that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and myself. That's 6. That's full capacity. So Danielle's a maybe. So Danielle, you probably might want to be taking your van.
Okay.
It's going to be cozy. I mean, if it's a problem, we can fit you in there, but it's going to be cozy.
Well, and if anyone wants to be less cozy, I
Yeah.
can ride with me.
Because the seating is fine. We can seat 6. We can squeeze in a 7th, but it's a squeeze. So, and that's not bad on a short trip, but on a 6-hour drive, that gets to be a little interesting. But we could do it if we had to. I mean, you know, we do it if we can. Now, there's a thin, slim, although now I don't see how with the storage. So a lot of the money that was earmarked to work on the bus is going to be going for paying for the storage / warehouse for now. That was money I had slated for repairing the bus. But I've been doing some tech work on the side, see how much money keeps coming in if they extend my contract and at my full rate, and they'll have a little more money in January. If we get the bus running, which is not likely, but just in case, then we'd be taking the bus. But doesn't seem likely this time around. But ZoeCon will be fun, and I'm talking with them about panels and all that stuff, so we're working on that. All right, WasterCon.
Don't forget to switch out your tires.
What's that?
Don't forget to switch your tires.
Which tires?
Don't you need to get some winter tires on there?
On where?
On your vehicle that you're going to be pulling the trailer with?
The Infinity?
Yeah.
Maybe. Yeah, I have them, if necessary. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
By February it'll be necessary.
Yeah, and I've got chains. So, yeah. Okay, WashCon. So I was contacted by the president of the Washington State Therapeutic Recreation Association. They would like me to follow through with what we proposed last year, which fell through the cracks. So previously presented on, hey, role-playing games are this great thing. You know what this is? No? Tell us about it. Oh, cool, yeah. And why does it apply to recreation therapy? Here's why. Oh, great. And a bunch of people got excited about it, and some people did. I coached them through programs over on the west side at Nautilus and all of that. So now they want to know, great, you've sold us on the idea. How do we start bringing that into our programs? How do we get the training we need? Well, I'm glad you asked. So this is that next step of like, oh, now that you're sold on it, here's the next step to try to bring it into your program. And so that's what we would be presenting, 60 to 90 minutes. Bring the trailer, all that. This is slated to be in Wenatchee. So last year was Bellingham. Now it's at the Red Lion in Wenatchee. That's right near your stomping grounds of Yakima, isn't it, Danielle?
Kind of.
Isn't Wenatchee part of Tri-Cities?
No, it's north of there. It's
Okay.
like between Yakima and Ellensburg.
Okay, I know.
So yeah,
No.
no.
What's between Yakima and Ellensburg is Sela. There's and the firing center.
Well, where's Wenatchee? I thought when I looked at Google Maps that that's where I saw it.
It's north of Ellensburg.
Oh, it's north of Ellensburg. That's right. It's near.
No.
That's right. It's where we were when we went to took the dead end, right? We passed.
Before that, right before 11.
Yeah, we passed through it just before we found out that the pass wasn't open when we were going to Bellingham.
That's where we backtracked.
Yeah. Okay. So that's where it is. Yeah, it's north of Ellensburg. Yeah. So that's where that's going to be. This is April 28th at the Red Lion. So yeah. So I think their thinking is, oh, it'll be more central. We'll get more people to attend the East Side thing. I think what's going to happen is it'll be 3 hours for everybody, so nobody will come.
Yeah, it is 2 hours, 49 minutes.
What's that?
I said that's what I said in class when they were polling us.
I know, but it is what it is. It'll be what it'll be. We'll see what happens.
It used to be in Leavenworth, and I guess it was successful. So.
Oh, really? Oh, I didn't know that. Okay. Well, Wenatchee's probably more affordable than Leavenworth now.
Yeah, especially in February.
April.
Oh, April, never mind.
April 28th. So that's our second event for the year that we'll be doing. The MBA camp doesn't really count because it's close, and I remember. So one of the limitations I've set for myself, for my health and stuff, is we won't do more than 4 major out-of-town events per year at this stage. Now, eventually, if we get everybody trained up enough and people can go break up into different teams, great. We can spread out and do more damage that way, make a Ghostbusters reference.
I'm familiar with it.
Yeah, but for now, as long as I'm kind of having to be at the lead of each of these, we're limited to 4 a year. He's trying to get us into Gen Con, so this is taking up 2. We've got 2 slots open, which should be fun. I don't know what's happening with SpoCon, but that's local, so it doesn't really count as the 4 slots.
Right.
So it's just anything outside of a 100-mile radius is on that 4. But
this is Wenatchee's just out of that 100-mile radius.
Is it?
It's 179 miles.
That's almost double.
Almost.
Well, it's still okay. So for WasterCon 2018, April 28th in Wenatchee, who will be attending or helping with the presentation or just being there to help? It's a 1-day event. But,
Count me in.
okay, so we got John, yes.
Count me in.
Charles, yes.
That wouldn't look important.
Okay.
I will be in my internship. So
Hopefully you'll be in your internship, which will be awesome.
Need calendar invites for all these things, or my brain won't hold it.
I'll have to, yeah, these will all get plugged into our public calendar, because these are public events. I'll have to come back and do that. But let's say an administrative assistant. I don't know. But, okay.
You need an assistant?
What's that?
You need an assistant?
Administrative assistant to, like, handle all the scheduling and keeping track of all these notes and everything else? Yeah. We have it in the to hire at some point. We've got a slot open for it. For both the research side and the therapeutic side, because I do so much better when somebody can just take care of the mundane day-to-day. But I, do what I can. All right. So who would be riding with me in the SUV/bus at that point? Everybody?
Yes?
It depends on if I'm in Yakima or not.
Understood. Okay. Drum Circle status update. Right now we are tentatively scheduled, so this is that group that wants us to facilitate at least the first few times, but they're doing to raise funds for us, so they can have us as long as they want. So they want us there every month to help them facilitate, and it keeps raising that kind of money. Okay, twist my arm. She's still trying to find a wheelchair accessible larger space. I let her know, like, great, you keep looking. Meanwhile, we're looking at a warehouse, see if there's anything that would work. That would be a great way to because then they're there. Like, this is what we're trying to raise money for to make this better. So that would be even better if we can. So, but right now, tentatively, the first Sunday of each month at 2 p.m. I can do that. Could still be changed if necessary. You're not required to all attend, but of course, if you can, that's better for experience and practice and all that. Is there a better Sunday of each month that would maximize attendance? If so, speak up now.
Not the third Sunday.
Not the third, yeah, no third anything. I gave her that list. I said nothing on the third week of the month because we're just packed full on that. How does that fall on yours?
I'm checking the calendar
Okay.
right now.
It's probably going to vary each month. It's not going to be consistent.
Well, I'm every other Sunday. If I get where'd my calendar go?
So the first one's going to be January 7th. Then February 4th. Then March 4th.
I'm glad we have some time to get ready for that.
What's that?
I said I'm glad that we have some time to get ready for that, so we're not like, okay, here's another program, go!
Well, this they want us to just, we're not going to be teaching. We're just going to be just running we're just facilitating a drum circle. It's going to be a lot more just mellow grooves and just doing the activities. We're not going to be teaching. It's going to be just doing facilitating. So it'll be a lot easier than the teaching part, in theory. I can't see your...
Only ask you to run a melody for them or something.
Yeah, no, it's getting all of them involved in just drumming. So, so let me know on that. Everyone's virtual office access, how we do it on time. I'll come down to that in a minute. Whoops, whoa, what just happened? I just jumped URLs. Click the wrong mouse button. Okay.
Like, I don't know if it's because they changed Google Calendar. I don't see anything on January scheduled at all. And I
Okay.
should have.
A lot of times some of your automated stuff will stop at the end of the year and you have to up them for the following year. I'll probably have to do that for a number of mine as well. Okay, so just jump down to the bottom, come back up here. Might be in these parts are screaming. Okay, come on, get up there. Whoa, what the heck? Jumping all over the place. Jump around. Alright. Okay, educate.
A pop song reference?
Yes.
Nice of you to notice.
You know, I am a multi-instrumental musician, multi-genre. It's not unusual for me to make musical references all the time.
It's not unusual.
It's not unusual to be loved by someone. Thank you very much. All right. So, I wanted to do a quick health check before we get into our education section, which we're doing okay on time. Oh wait, no. Before we do that, who can help me with the following research? Oh, no, never mind. Today, I enabled YouTube monetization. Since we met the requirements, you have to be a YouTube partner, you have to have more than 10,000 video views. We have over 33,000 video views with 290 subscribers. It's tiny, but better than nothing. And about 1,001 minutes of viewing time. It's not a lot, but it's better than just your Joe Schmo.
And it meets the
And it
requirements.
meets the requirements to partner, because what happened is they changed the rules this year that if you're not a partner, you can't link to your own websites and your own fundraiser sites anymore. Your old links would still be in place, but your new videos you can't link to unless you're approved. So I went through when I found that today, because I was going to add it to one of our videos, and I couldn't add the links like I used to be able to do. I'm like, oh, Google changed something again. Shocker! Changed something every month. So I'm like, well, let's see if we qualify. I have no idea how many views we have. So I was like, oh, 33,000, we qualify. So I went through the process. I had to create an AdSense account. That's going through, and now they're going to now look through our content to see if we fit the requirements for being a YouTube channel partner. We may get denied. They'll let us know within a week or so, give or take. If we get approved, then it makes it easier to add links straight to our website and our Patreon and our GoFundMe. Again, that used to be no problem, but they've changed the game for everybody.
Yeah.
They're up in the ante, and that happens. That's
From what I've gathered from the news out of YouTube, they're shaking up a lot of things because they're dealing with a lot of
crap.
That'd be the technical term, yeah.
A lot of crap. So, so just let you guys know that's rolling along. We had 33,000 video views and 290 subscribers. So thank you. It's small, but it's growing. So next thing is, who can help me make this cake? Not ice at the house. Not ice at the house.
What is the ingredients?
The cake is a research effort. This is on our website. This is about Ivan Van Norman's, because that really stuck in my craw. I know it's not organized, but what can I do? About how disorganized website is. Well, I have a page set up to try to make it more organized. If you go to www.rpg, well, if you go to rpgresearch.com, the front page, just go to rpgresearch.com. Right, and you'll notice I've done some. No! No!
What just happened?
Error establishing a database connection.
Yep.
GoDaddy. GoDaddy's.
We're down.
Or somebody hacked our site. Let's hope it's not that. Let's see. Let's see if the other sites are down. They're all down. So let me see if something's wrong with my account. And GoDaddy didn't tell me.
Your bill is 1 minute overdue.
Yeah. They don't usually, they're actually usually pretty good. It might be they have something wrong.
Maybe I should go to GoDaddy, see if their site's open.
Yeah, no, I'm on GoDaddy, but that doesn't mean anything. It just may be something with that particular branch of the cloud. Let's see if cPanel.
I just got through.
Okay.
Don't know if it
I'm
matters.
still getting a database error. And I just upgraded a couple weeks ago because our traffic was such that we were starting to max out what we had, so I upgraded our package, which is going to keep happening until I get back to my own servers. Whole story about that.
You're not still having a problem with that. You got your servers back.
Oh, I got it back, but remember, I'm saying for those, the whole nightmare of the colo that went under, and I had to get my servers running out of my basement.
RPG Trail's down.
Well, everything's down because their whole system. I'm trying to get into the cPanel. I think I'm just trying to determine if it's our whole account or if it is a GoDaddy blow up. Thanks a lot. I mean, even if I was hosting myself, there's no guarantee something's going to happen, but I like having control over my own servers. Okay, cPanel finally came up. Our usage is not overloaded. Our memory usage is okay. So we're running steadily now around 1 gig of RAM usage, and we were at 1 gig was our limit. We're like 924 megs. So I bumped it up to 2 gigs. So
Just in case.
Yeah, well, they give me warnings, and no, it wasn't just in case. It was starting to time out because of that. But they're not showing an error. What the heck? Up and running with no issues. Here's smoking crack.
And this is at www.research.
Well, if you go to www.2, you shouldn't have a problem.
Okay.
That's in my house.
Okay.
GoDaddy is just rpgresearch.com. So I was going to have you go there because that's the front landing page most people. If you go to www.2.rpgresearch.com, that's my clone server running my house, and it's just purring along. It's going to be slow because we're using up all the bandwidth in the house right now. But,
Yeah.
But that should purr along just fine.
Yeah, I do have the error establishing a database connection.
Darn it.
You shouldn't have that for www.2.rpgresearch.com.
I know, I just
Three
went to...
dubs, right?
www.2.rpgresearch.com should be fine. Just rpgresearch.com or just www.rpgresearch.com will have the error.
The one that you said has the error is having the error for me.
Yes.
Yeah. www.2 not giving me a problem.
Right, exactly.
It
So,
took about 45 seconds for the www2 to open.
right, because we're using up all the bandwidth doing our video streaming right now. It's running out of my house. That's, what can I say? I could start cranking my Comcast back up again, but that's more money too. So
You just blame it
This
on
is the
FCC.
old landing page in the www2.
yeah, it's not pretty. But anyway, on the front page, if it was working right now, you see down at the top of the menu there's research focus. You see the RPG Research Project, Research Focus, RPG Research Project Services Overview. If you click on the Research Focus link, which would be a button right on the front page, then go to that page, and you'll see this is what I need help with. It's a way to try to organize it so you see what you want, you click it, and it takes you to the research. Now it's research. It's not flashy. It's going to be text. It's going to be too long, didn't read text.
TLDR.
But I'm trying to make it clean in its organization. So if you look, you will see overall research archives, which is just everything. Blah. Then there's research archives sorted by professional discipline, either by tag or keyword. Well, those tag and keyword links need to be created. The page needs to be edited, and the correct link added to each of those. So if you scroll down, you'll see a lot of tag, keyword, for educator, for healthcare professional, for therapeutic recreation, for psychology, okay? Same thing with population or diagnosis. You see I've got one for autism spectrum, one for hearing impairment, one for vision impairment. I don't have them for all the rest. I have pages or content for everything on this page. I have research information for. All those populations and professions, and you go down to sorted by potential benefits, target goals, aka aspects. All of those, I have tons and tons of data, but you have to know how to search for it, which now we're right back to the whole university thing. Now, if you go to the upper right-hand corner and type in the keyword like autism, boom, you'll get what you need. But this is to make it easier for people to go, autism, click. Here's everything on autism. Now pick through what you want. That's more organized, isn't it? I mean, it's not flashy, pretty photos. If you want photos, I've created a page that is the visual history of RPG research in reverse. The most recent at the top, and you scroll down, it's all photos. You saw that, right?
Yeah.
That was an improvement, wasn't it? It's just a continuous line going back in time. So, but these are all works in progress. So that makes it kind of chaotic because everything's like part way here and part way there. So I really need somebody or some buddies to go to this page and start making those links work. Right now, there are very few working links, and it's a monotonous data entry process. Of you have one browser here on one side, one browser here. One's open to RPG research. You go in the search box, you type in the keyword autism. Boom. Now you have a URL created. Copy that URL. Go over here, paste that URL for that particular text, and then boom, that one's done. Now search for the next keyword. Copy that text. Boom, put it over here. And it's just literally going back and forth between two browsers. Copy paste for all the keywords. For tags, it's a little more complicated because you actually have to create a collection. But even if somebody just went through and did that with every one of the keywords, that would be a huge improvement for that page.
I'm going to see if I can do that.
Okay. Cool. You should have permissions to do all that. If you don't, you just let me know and I'll make sure you do. All you have to do is you go to that research focus page and you click edit, and then it should give you the editable version of it.
Yeah.
And then you put that browser right over here. Then you go over here and open up www.rpgresearch.com, and you've got the search box in the right hand corner. Type in whatever that keyword is, get that results page, just grab the URL from the top of your browser. Then over here where the edit is, you highlight the one that you want to become a link. You'll click the little link icon, it'll pop up a thing, say external link, you paste in the external link, click save, boom. That's it. You just do that over and over ad nauseum until every one of those keyword listings has a working link. Okay. And if we just got all the keyword versions working, that would be half the page. The tag one is more involved for creating collections and such. But if even just having the keyword for all of those topics would be a huge improvement for people.
And that was research focus?
That's the research focus link. Yeah, it says RPG Research Project Research Focus. Along the big menu along the top there.
I used to run, this is just running off the game that I was creating. Are you familiar with this Obsidian portal?
Yes.
I was building an entire wiki for my world.
Nice.
I have this talent of being able to just muscle through tedium. So.
It's got to be GoDaddy because even cPanel's blowing up. They just got a premature
This is
kill
really
signal.
great to see. Current status shows all systems operational. rpgresearch.com now shows error connecting to database. If you need help with this kind of issue, feel free to reach out. That's Vikride. Or how do you pronounce it?
Be weird.
Yeah.
Yeah, they say that, but yeah, I know. That's what they say. Yeah. Yeah. Oh, everything's working fine. No, it's not. Again, if it was hosted like my servers are doing fine. You go to my site, my server, it's fine. It's GoDaddy that's blowing up. I've never had this long of an error before. I've had like a brief glitch. I've never had them blow up this long before.
Have you heard
And
of
they're blowing up.
IPVM?
It's cPanel and everything. They're completely blown up. It must be their whole that whole cloud server. And there's probably nothing we can do but wait it out. Lovely. Thanks, VB Weird. I appreciate that. Do we pronounce that VB Weird or VB Wired? Or Wired D? Let us know how to pronounce that if you would phonetically spell it out for us. Appreciate it. Should have asked you that when we were talking on Skype or whatever a few months ago. He's the guy who runs the Professional Game Masters Guild.
Okay.
And so they've got their own Discord channel and Google Plus area and website. He's got his own role-playing game and all that going on too. And great resource, so definitely check him out. All right, well, let's get back on track here. I'm not going to worry about GoDaddy troubleshooting right now. So,
You can stop that.
thank you. Yeah, at this point. If anybody else wants to help, you are most welcome to. We just want to make sure you coordinate through Discord. And that would be where you would be in the volunteer core staff channel. We wouldn't want to clutter the general channel with that.
Yeah.
But exactly this kind of just technical stuff, we go into volunteer core staff, say, hey guys, just say no, I'm working on this page right now, so if you want to work on the same one, make sure you check with me, so we don't clobber each other's work or something. So even if nobody's there, just kind of log in and go, hey, I'm working on this right now, and post it to the email list, or both, whatever. Communicate. As we get more of us, we will start stepping on each other's toes if we don't get in the habit of just communicating all the time.
Yeah.
Hey, I'm doing this. Hey, I'm doing this. So I'm hoping the chat room will help with that.
Okay.
We'll see. I'm the biggest techie here, so for me it's secondhand, but I know for other people that's less natural. Okay, monetization, got that. Okay, got that. No quiz tonight because we're doing the broadcast. That takes up our normal quiz time. I want to verify. Charles, is your at RPG Research email working correctly?
Last time I was on it, yes. I didn't get on it yet today.
Okay, please get on it just to verify if you can.
Okay.
Danielle, is yours?
Give me a second to get on my actual computer.
Okay, great. Danielle, is yours working?
Is Danielle working?
Dave?
Bueller.
Danielle?
She's dim, Jed.
I'm talking to nothing because I hit mute because people were talking behind me.
That would do it.
I am looking it up right now because it's been over a week since
Good.
the holiday.
Let's make sure it's working. John, is yours working now? Is it still glitching on you, or is it just that caching?
I'm doing a recheck on this
Okay.
one. It's working on this one. It's got to be cookie issues on my other
That's what
computer.
I'm thinking. So if you get an error when you try to use the webmail, try clearing the cookies in your browser or using a different browser, because it looks like sometimes the cookies get confused. Now I have my browser set up because I'm a security nut. Every time I close out my browser, it automatically clears all my cookies and my history and everything. I'm just done that way. But it looks like if it caches the cookies from a previous session, it kind of gets squirrely and confused. So
Yeah,
if you
don't
get an
even
error,
bother to try to open up
clear your browser.
2 different emails within the same
Yeah,
board.
yeah, it gets a little freaky. Now, he's using Chrome that he's had most of these issues with. I've had no problems under Firefox. I have not been able to get it work reliably under Internet Explorer or Edge or any of that. So probably stick with Firefox or Chrome. Probably. Is that your preferred poison?
Oh no, So I used to work at American Safety Council in Florida, and we used to do. This is where I did the animation, and they did online courses to teach people how to properly drive, and it's on the internet.
Yep.
And the biggest problem they ever had was trying to get people to stop using Internet Explorer because it's a horrible program.
Yeah, it is. It's a piece of yes.
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 The fact that some people didn't even realize that there were other options than Internet Explorer
Yeah.
just kind of.
Yeah. Yeah.
Most people just say VB. Anyway,
Whatever the
my real
default
name is
browser is
Mark.
that's bundled with their operating system is all they know.
Yeah.
That's most people. Yep. Okay. What's that?
Most people just say VB. Anyways, my real name is Mark. If you need any help with that, feel free.
Okay.
Okay.
Just say BB. Okay, that works then. Thanks kindly, BB. Okay. So
Have you heard of the IDDM?
the IDM, because that's a reference to your own inner. It's a
Psychology.
Yeah. Yes, of course. I was interviewed by him some time ago.
He just posted out a general. I want more people to talk to me about for the podcast and things like that. So he maybe do a secondary review with you, perhaps.
Please, yeah, tell him. I'd gladly. We've got so many topics we could cover. We barely scratched the surface. Yeah, we did one with him a few months ago that he posted. So, okay, so that's the info about the webmail. Is everybody getting the volunteer staff email postings when I post the email list? Do you get the actual emails?
Yeah.
Okay, good. How about you, Danielle? You still
Yeah,
getting
yeah.
those? Good. Charles?
Yeah, I had no problem with any of that.
Good. John? Seem to be getting those fine.
Yes, as far as I know, I haven't missed any.
Brad, let me know. And Dan, you said they are working okay
I
for you?
believe so. I'm getting them
Okay.
either at my GMX, and I have access to the webmail right now.
Good, good. So again, if you want to create and share docs, you go documents like I'm doing, you go to docs.google.com. In the future, sometime we'll move it back to my servers, but for now we'll just use Google until then. Okay, everybody, I want to see everybody in our public Discord channel right now. Brad, when you're online, please just pop in. I just want to make sure we get everybody in there. The more you guys just loiter in there as much as possible, watch for comments from other people, the more our community will come to life. The more lively our chat community is, the more lively it'll ripple into other areas. I have had very lively, like I've hosted IRC, Internet Relay Chat, for decades. I'm an honorary 2600 lifetime member because of bringing 2600 IRC back after a year of being DDoSed off the planet by every country in the world. I helped them rebuild that and bring it back. I was the core server that helped rebuild that back in 2002 or whatever. I'm a huge advocate for this type of chat and community and such. But you need different things. You also need more permanent things like forums and websites and all that.
Oh, yeah.
But for community, chat is awesome. So let's see, I've got Quack, which is John, Snaga, which is Charles, Damien's new, Dan, I show you not doing anything, but you're kind of there. I'm there. Meister Rory, who's new, VB, welcome aboard. I don't see Danielle. Why do I not see Danielle in our Discord chat room? We can't hear you, Danielle. Danielle.
Is Danielle going to push out the airlock again?
I'm here. I'm here. I'm in Discord. Does it not show me? That's what I was wondering. 'Cause I'm
Say
Now we
something.
see you. Now I see you. You just now appeared.
Ah.
Trying to play. Oh, no, it was there the whole time.
I wasn't sleeping.
Say hello, Danielle, in the channel. Say hello in the channel.
I just checked. My email's working fine through RPG Research.
Excellent. Excellent.
The only reason I couldn't unmute myself is because I was in Discord. So
Oh,
I don't
okay.
know what's going on.
And you know Discord has a voice chat, and they've just started to introduce video chat as well.
I've been seeing that.
So, and their voice chat works pretty well. We used it on the Spartan show for our stuff. What he did is he ran Skype for the video and used Discord for the voice chat because it had less latency.
Okay.
And then also for the text and such. Okay, www.rpgresearch.com. Is everybody able to log into that okay as just a general user?
Yeah.
www.rpgresearch.com.
Yes.
Danielle?
Just a minute ago.
Good. Charles?
Yeah, I'm
Good.
in and out of that website just fine.
Excellent. Are you able to go to the RPG Research staff folder?
In it right now.
So for those who don't have the link, it's www.rpgresearch.com/documents/staff. You should all be able, those of us who are staff, should be able to get into that folder. If you cannot, let me know and I will fix your permissions. Because that is where I post stuff that only the staff should be able to see. And we've got a lot of videos in there too, by the way, because I can't make them public because of copyright, but we have them there, you know. Or because of our...
Documents/staff.
Yes.
Did I spell documents correctly? Oh, there it goes.
Yeah, you definitely should be able to.
Yep, I see my name there.
Good, good, good.
I don't see any documents.
Well, there should be a bunch of stuff.
No, you know what? You sent me to about staff, not
No,
documents.
not about staff. Documents staff.
That's what I wrote, but it directed me to about.
Yeah, same here.
Really?
Same here.
Document staff sends me to about.
It's not doing that to me. Can I unplug it temporarily?
It's not one of those batteries that died the moment you unplug it.
Yeah.
Thank the gods. I think I'm available for the 7th, but I still got to verify.
Oops.
It'd be my uncle's game night, which I'm pretty sure it's my uncle's game night, which means I'm available.
Wow, it did redirect.
Yeah, I'm having the same problem.
Huh. And yet it's not redirecting me.
Because you're Bethel. You have permissions.
Well, I'm going to try to remove that redirect because it should not be. Let's see. So, but this is why we test these things, because you guys can't get to that, and they keep telling you to go there. That's not going to work very well.
Well, you seen that?
What about you, Danielle and Charles? You getting the same redirect?
Have you seen that yet?
What? I couldn't understand where you guys were going in the staff folder.
Okay, let me. If you look at our Google Docs, you'll see the link. But I will go ahead and paste it into Discord here.
I'll go
for
to
you.
the Google Docs. I thought you were talking about in. Yes, yeah, I was confused.
Is it redirecting to About Staff for you as well?
Not in the Google Doc, at RPG Research.
Something's going on with my Chrome. 1 second.
Wait a minute.
I did not get redirected. I'm just having the typical trouble getting logged in.
Is it all chrome and shiny?
Let's see, let's look at aliases. So it might be an alias that's doing funky groovy stuff.
I got the research focus. Is that where we were clicking?
No, click the link that I just put in Discord in the general room.
Oh, the Discord.
I'm going
Okay.
to get rid of the root staff redirect. Oh, yeah, and there's document staff redirect as well. That would do it.
You're trying to keep me out of all the fun stuff.
That's because I restructured it. Alright, now it should work. So, documents, staff. Now it broke.
Ouch.
Okay.
I didn't do it.
Well, this is why we check these things. See how exciting this is? See why we don't share this normally? Oh, it's because I timed out on my login. Because it's not a public.
I'm in.
How many viewers we got right now? 3?
I can just get my login
It
right
says
after
1.
the end.
No, it says 0 now, so I don't know.
I just scared them
But
off.
you know, YouTube lies.
Yes.
It said we had none and we had 700. What was that, Charles?
Except for having trouble logging in, I'm fine.
Okay.
It's not giving me a redirect or anything.
Alright. Well, I gotta tweak a few things here while I'm at it, and then we'll go into our education thing next. Nope, that's not what I want.
I hope they would fix that.
I'm in.
Okay.
Should I take my laptop and try again?
Yeah, go ahead and plug it back in. I'll tell you when to try it in a second. I'm going to give it an alias. I'm going to change the alias to there so that it's easier for you guys. So now that I've deleted the other one. Okay, so now go to www.rpgresearch.com/staff, and that should be it.
Okay.
Let's see what that does for you.
So just /staff.
Yep.
Document, that redirects me to document staffs.
Good. And there you should see. Spokon files, RPG Research is a formal nonprofit, music therapy videos and resources,
That
a
drug
lot of
cancer.
videos, logs, reports, journals, new volunteers. See all that?
Mm-hmm.
You guys see it?
Yeah.
Yeah?
When I try and search when I try and search it in the search bar, so I was seeing if I can get on my computer, www.rpgtherapy.co.
No. RPG Research.
That's why I did it.
You're not part of RPG Therapy, remember? you have to get certified and apply.
Yeah.
Life is Strange trailer. It's not safe for work.
Charles, is that working for you?
I'm having to reset my password real quick.
What's not safe to work, what?
Life is Strange launch trailer. You said it's not safe for work.
Okay, there we go.
Oh, yeah. The language and stuff in it. Okay. So, that's the staff folder. When I say go to the staff folder, that's the staff folder.
Okay.
Down at the very, very bottom, you will see a new volunteers. That's where there's a checklist that I've just started on today. Basically, be the information packet for new folks as we put that together formally. There's not a whole lot there besides the checklist, and even that's not complete. So, but bit by bit, trying to get this all organized. Okay, everybody's in Discord. Good.
And there's a good chance that me being in Discord is actually my computer at home.
Okay.
Because my phone
Whatever works. Whatever. Okay, so there. Yes.
With Discord, since I'm not showing up, I'm actually reading everything, and when I have a comment, I'll comment. I just haven't had.
All
You're
right.
showing up right now.
Yeah, you show up now.
Okay.
It's all right. So, got that. Got all that administrative stuff. Okay. Education topics. So, we're doing this now. You guys have already seen this, but it's good for you to have your review. A little bit of news items before we jump to education. A new local relevant facility. Did I mention this last time or not?
No, you did not.
Okay, so this is right down the street here on Country Homes Boulevard. They just opened up. Center for Pediatric Therapy. They have physical therapy, occupational therapy, speech therapy, feeding therapy, and additional services. Note that there's no recreational therapy. It is a brand new shiny facility. It is on the location where the Viking folks used to be. They used to be the Viking club house, whatever, for
The Sons of Norway?
Sons of Norway, yeah. But anyways, there's additional services, teacher services, family resource coordinators, dietitian services, and orthotics. Might be, I'm putting them on the list to talk to just to see if they're all interested in our services. Who knows?
It'd be nice.
Yeah, it's a nice, brand new facility, good looking. So just want to make you guys aware of that. If you put your ears to the ground, if you hear anything about it, let us know. John, you posted a great link on Guide to Narrative Combat for 5th edition. So we should probably mention this if we have time in our Patreon broadcast.
Right.
That would be a good thing to cover. So to save time, we won't go into it right now, and hopefully we'll have time. If we don't have time, we'll push into next week's meeting. But there's a link there for Sly Flourish's Guide to the... You give it a rundown, John.
It's Sly Flourish's Guide to Narrative Role-Playing. And its basic concept is that how to play without the minis, without the maps, how to adjudicate things like distance, are you near or you're far, how many people get hit in area effect spells, rather than trying to figure out, I was 3 feet to the left, I was using his arm to open the lock, not mine. Those kind of things to make it easier to do it without having to actually put down maps and minis.
Cool. So bring that up again during the broadcast if we have time. The other one that I post, so I post a couple others. Somebody posted they're keeping a list on withinthedungeon.blogspot.com of RPG publishing companies that will pay for authors for content, for RPG content. So the link is there. It's got D20 PFSRD, N-World, Kenzer and Company, Magpie Games, Modifius Entertainment, Palladium Books, Pinnacle Entertainment Group, Raging Swan Press. I have only heard of half of these. Steve Jackson Games, definitely know them. The Gauntlet, Patreon, Zenith Games. So that's what he has listed so far of companies that will actually pay you for your RPG content. Bookmark that. Let's see how that list grows. That's worth knowing. Not really relevant to our Patreon broadcast, but just good for us to be aware of. And if you decide to whip up a module and want to try to sell it, that would be a good starting point. Span the 12 of them, or whatever the number is at the time. So I just thought you guys would want to be aware of that. The other one is about, this ties in with some of our education content, I think. Yeah, okay, so that's about screen time, which we've talked about before. Okay, so to our education and training time.
Will you flow?
Okay, so to our topic of the day, flow. Hey, flow. So I have a quick, I have a video. Let's see if you guys can follow the link there. Yeah, the Google Docs, you see the link, right? YouTube already watched. YouTube already watched this video, right?
Yeah, I have.
Charles, Danielle. So this will be more for Brad and Dan. We're repeating a lot of stuff for you guys' benefit.
And our refresher.
And it's a refresher for you guys for your certifications.
Nice. Yeah, I watched watched the flow state one like 10 times.
Okay. Sorry. We got to do it for Dan and Brad's benefit now.
Well, it's all good. I'm just letting you know I'm very familiar with it.
Good. Excellent. Well, I want to hear you spouting flow stuff like Jacob was in the future.
Get into the flow about talking about flow.
Get in the flow about talking about flow. You got it. Complete loss of
I
truth.
actually used your flow state video with my classmates.
You did?
Yeah, they were like, and they were stumbling over it, and I was like, let me just turn on this video.
Awesome. Come on. You need batteries from the remote, and I can't find the batteries.
There we go.
Well, we'll see.
At least it's talking to you.
Yeah. They gotta get to the right TV input. Because it's the TV remote that, okay. There we go. Alright then. So this is on our YouTube channel. Oops. Gosh darn it. So, youtube.com/RPG research. Try to do it without the typos that I'm doing. Oh, yeah, without the typos that I'm doing. Come on. And then videos, and look for there it is. So down here, it's just a 10-minute video, flow and role-playing games. But I try to also equate sports experiences for people, you know, because this is meant to be available to a wider audience. So listen to this. Take notes. Music by me.
Sounds familiar?
Yes, requested by John.
Greetings. My name is Mark Robinson. I am a student at Eastern Washington University working on an interdisciplinary degree in recreation therapy, music, neuroscience, and research psychology. This video was created in relation to a course assignment for the Psychology of Adjustment class taught by Professor Paul Spurgeon. I am registered with the Washington State Department of Health as a recreational therapist and working for the Therapeutic Recreation and Music Therapy National Certifications, the CTRS and the AMTA. First, some very short definitions around words. Attention is the degree to which an entity is able to process sensory stimuli, motor functions, or cognitions. Concentration is the degree to which an entity focuses upon a task and excludes irrelevant stimuli or cognitions. Immersion is the degree to which a participant's concentration leads to being engrossed in an activity, and flow state is an optimal state of immersion that can lead to maximal performance by the participant. The Hungarian psychologist Mihaly Csikszentmihalyi is perhaps best known for the concept of flow. In 1975, he defined flow as, quote, the holistic sensation present when we act with total involvement, end quote. Flow shares some distinctive features with what Maslow has called peak experiences. The textbook, Psychology of Adjustment, The Search for Meaningful Balance, on page 218, states about flow that flow is the state of being in which a person performing an activity is fully immersed in what is happening. It is characterized by a feeling of energized focus, full involvement, and enjoyment in the process. Furthermore, activities that are characterized by flow state should involve continuous learning where one always feels challenged to learn more. Thus, the true hallmark of flow is a feeling of spontaneous delight and complete absorption. This flow state can be experienced in sports, outdoors recreation, music, religious experiences, various hobbies, video games, tabletop games, live-action games, and even in the workplace. Many sports aficionados call it being in the zone. Here is a brief clip from basketball player Kobe Bryant, a pupil of Michael Jordan, about this concept.
getting at is always just a supreme confidence that you know it's going in. It's not a matter of if or just that it's going in.
According to Gene Nakamura and Csikszentmihalyi, there are 6 key factors leading to a flow experience. Number 1, focused concentration in the moment to an intense degree. Here's another short clip from Kobe Bryant about this concept.
Again, you just kind of stay there. Become oblivious to everything that's going on. You don't think about what's going on with the crowd or the team.
Number 2, merging of action and awareness. Here is a third clip from Kobe Bryant on this concept.
It becomes one noise. You don't hear this or that. Everything's just one noise. And you're not paying attention to one or the other. You just stay right there. You have to really try to stay in the present and not let anything break that rhythm.
Number 3, reflective self-consciousness is suspended. Here's a clip from Zombie Orpheus Entertainment's The Gamer's Darkness Rising, illustrating this concept. Number 4, a strong sense of internal locus of control. Here's another clip from the same Gamers movie illustrating this concept.
The goblins surround Daphne. Joanna?
Hold my action.
Yes.
Move to assist Daphne. Twice.
I'm here to protect you.
My hero.
Number 5, significant alteration of the experience of time. Here's another clip from the Gamers movie illustrating this concept with a tabletop role-playing game.
And I think we'll call it there for the night.
What? It's still early.
It's after 2.
It's what? I had no idea it was so late.
See what happens? You get so into it, you can't help but lose track of time.
Number 6, autotelic experience, aka strong, intrinsically rewarding experience. Csikszentmihalyi described an autotelic activity as an activity rewarding in and of itself, quite apart from its end product or any extrinsic good that might result from the activity. From Greek, autos equals self and telos equals goal. Though research indicates that role-playing games, RPGs, appear to provide many potential benefits to participants, they provide an exceptional opportunity for interested participants to enjoy an autotelic activity with the possibility of a significant flow state experience, whether alone or participating in groups. Here's another clip from the Gamer's Darkness Rising illustrating this concept.
So I guess that means the campaign's over, doesn't it? This one is, yeah.
Oh, you two messed with it.
I had a good time. Me too. That was different. But cool. Mostly cool. I like the way you game.
Totally in agreement here.
These 6 factors can happen to varying degrees by themselves, but for a true flow experience, according to the theory, all 6 factors should be experienced simultaneously to some degree. There are also 3 conditions in flow theory that are required to improve the likelihood of this optimal experience, and role-playing games are ideally suited to meet these requirements. Number 1, the activity provides a clear set of goals and measures of progress, helping to provide structure and direction to the participants. Most RPGs do this very clearly as part of the entire activity. They provide rule books with clearly defined rules, clear mechanisms to determine success or failure, character sheets for tracking progress, maps, etc. 2, clear and immediate feedback, so that the participants can adjust their actions as needed to optimize their chances of performance success. RPG game system rules and play etiquette generally provide this throughout the activity. Number 3, balance between perceived challenge level and the participant's perception of their own skill level with confidence that though challenging, they can succeed. This can be tricky in role-playing games for game masters to find the right balance, since different players may be at different levels of ability. But when a gaming group is performing well, see video number 2 on group dynamics of RPG, then a variety of skill mastery and good group performance can allow this to happen for all participants. Being out of balance could lead to a total party kill TPK, or bored players overcoming the adventure challenges too easily. Looking at this diagram, arguably the most important consideration for achieving a flow experience is hitting the sweet spot of an ideal balance between the maximal challenge level of the activity appropriate to the participant's skill level. Too much challenge and or too low a skill level will likely lead to much anxiety, while too low a challenge for the skill level could lead to boredom. Role-playing games, when all the variables are properly aligned, may be able to provide some of the more readily accessible and intense experiences of flow state. And this experience may, under the right circumstances, be simultaneously shared by the entire group, not just one individual. To extend Mihai said about games, in games, the rules define what the relevant stimuli are and exclude everything else as irrelevant. To summarize, the key to maximizing the potential of optimal performance through increased likelihood of flow experience is to balance, among other variables, participant abilities and intrinsic motivations with challenge level and environment variables so that the participant has an intense, distinctive experience leading them to perform at their maximum capacity. For more information, see the RPG Research Project at www.rpgresearch.com.
I keep wanting to redo that video with titling and less of me. It was for an assignment, so I had to be on the camera a lot more.
And better audio.
What's that?
And better audio.
Well, voiceover. That's just catching the audio straight off of it. So, there's a reference. So, anyway, it's, you know, what matters is the content in this case, but I could definitely, if I had time to improve it, I'd like to. And I'd love to do the other videos I referenced too. I have all this.
He needs to be replaced with a cartoon character.
Yeah, that would be great. Have it all animated out as it's being discussed. That would stick a lot better.
No, that's literally what my job was as an animator.
Yep. What was that, Danielle?
I said, watch out, you have too many sticks in the fire.
Shocker. Okay, so, fire hose of information in 10 minutes.
Mm-hmm.
The key points in there are on the test.
Yeah.
I try to, in the test for this stage, for the advocate, have less of the technical specific references, like having to memorize who and autotelic and all that stuff.
Mm-hmm.
That's the more advanced certifications. Mm-hmm. For the advocate, the key thing is that you can explain these concepts. Mm-hmm. That it's a balance of what to what to get that flow state.
It's a balance of basically challenge and competency.
Yes, exactly.
Mm-hmm.
So those are the core concepts that are on the test.
Mm-hmm.
The names, you know, the proper technical autotelic, all these other things, who to reference, all that. Mm-hmm. That's at the higher level certs. But for the advocate cert, the key is the concept. So that's what's on the advocate certification. Okay. So you should be able to do okay with that. But you know, make sure it's there because I'll trip you up with, you know, there'll be a certain phrasing and it won't quite make sense.
Well, I was familiar with the concept of flow before I even met you guys. Good. Because, like, you know, and one of the things that kind of, it just kind of, you know, sticks in my craw a bit. You mentioned a whole bunch of different, you know, areas where it's easy to achieve flow. One of them that is really, really big, especially for me, is anything creative.
Yep.
Because, like, when I was I used to be able to go into the computer lab at when I was studying college and 3D animate for 11 hours straight
Oh,
without
yeah.
even realizing it.
No, I do music.
Yeah.
I like lose a
And,
weekend,
yeah,
you know, when I'm
Like,
composing.
where did time go?
Yeah. And that is a common experience for artists and others, you bet.
Oh, yeah.
Totally, yeah, absolutely.
So, and because I'm very self-reflective, I understood way back in even high school, I understood what flow was, and you know, I just now need to know the technical part of it.
Right.
Yeah.
And be able to explain it in terms that people can get it, quickly and succinctly and such. So, yeah.
Learning to say these people's names is probably the biggest test.
The what?
Learning to say their names.
That's necessary for presentations. If you're going to be up doing presentations, you got to be able to say, Chick sent me hi. Chick sent me hi. Even though it's spelled Six sent me hi.
But did she use emojis?
Well, it's a he.
Well,
and he's Hungarian.
A chicken sent me hi.
Yes, she, yes. Hello, how are you? But anyway, see, I also have some recent one, the Search for Meaningful Balance Psychology Adjustment 2017. So I've got not only the old stuff and the, you know, and really Csikszentmihalyi stuff goes all the way back to the 50s, but a recent publication of all his works and such. So really, really great stuff there. Okay, so there's a good tip. Any questions on that? Charles, Danielle, John, Dan?
I was kind of hoping to draw the diagram that you had up there because I thought it was important to me.
So this video is publicly available.
Oh yeah, I know. I have the YouTube link, so I'm going to go through that later.
And actually, that diagram is on our website under RPG Optimizations. The RPG Optimization, there's a whole section just on flow. It's basically all of this spelled out in text.
Okay.
So between the video and that, you should, and links to, because the links are in the optimization section. That optimization section is becoming a book. It will probably become a book. I got to get going on the Datillo book. I'm afraid I've blown my deadline. But I got to get all this other stuff out of the way before I do that. So.
Speaking of deadlines,
yes,
your research?
Yeah, I got that too.
Did we get an extension?
Yeah,
or?
we did. It turns out we had another year, but I don't want to push it till then.
Right.
So I'm hoping after the 6th, after finals, that I can buckle down, but in training I'm sucking up a lot of my time, so we'll see. Which is good, I mean, it's helping, but okay. So the next topic is the Bartle Taxonomy of Players. Now, had you already been familiar with that too, Dan, or no? Or is it just since we introduced you to it? Or have we introduced you to it?
It may be one of those things where I'm familiar with it in concept, but not in specifics.
Okay. So let me find my section here that I've seen misplaced. Here we go.
Bartle, you said B.
Bartle, B-A-R-T-L-E, Taxonomy of Player Types. There is a Wikipedia listing, and there's also a listing on our website. Let's see what I have in mind.
Because I know that while trying to design my 2 hour, I've been looking into player types as well.
Good. And there was another reference I found to another list that I'm having trouble finding right now, but anyway, Bartle Taxonomy of Player Types is a classification of video game players based on a 1996 paper by Richard Bartle, according to their preferred actions within the game. The classification originally described players of multiplayer online games, including MUDs and Morpegs, but now it also refers to players of single-player video games, and I have found does apply to tabletop role-playing gamers as well. So this is that little chart with killers, achievers, socializers, explorers.
I'm familiar with that.
Okay.
What is it? There's a YouTube site that I absolutely love what they're doing. Extra Credits did a series on them.
Okay.
Yeah.
And there's another one that we'll have to do another time when I find it. That's related. But so then cross-referencing that, you have acting, interacting, world, and players.
Yeah.
So that's kind of how it breaks that. And as I said, there's another version that's even more interesting. A test known as the Bartle Test of Gamer Psychology. So this is something we can do, and I have done, in our intake as one of our assessment exams to kind of figure out where the player, what turns them on, what kind of gaming do they want. Now it doesn't mean you have to put killers all in one group, right? I mean, sometimes that might be the only way everybody is enjoying the same thing at the same time and not being bored while one's exploring and blah, 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 blah. But it makes a pretty two-dimensional game when you put everybody the same type into one. But it also lets the GM know, oh, I've got a bunch of killers here. Well, I better keep that in mind for my game. You want to push them to do the achiever, explorer, socializer stuff, but you got to watch on them for signs of boredom or loss of interest and nudge them with what their intrinsic motivation is.
Yeah.
And so it's good to have that a feel for what motivates your players, and then try to expand their horizons as much as you could. As happened at Spark Central the other week, we got 2 new people who'd never been to Spark Central before. And so this was something I forgot to cover because it slipped off. Spark Central is now limiting screen time to about 45 minutes to an hour for the computers and 20 minutes for the VR, because they've been having increasing behavioral problems when the kids are on the screens longer than that.
Right.
And they were actually asking my advice about how much time should they have. I said, oh, about an hour. You know, that's kind of what the research shows, 1 to 2 hours tops. And so to encourage them to do other things, they're offering them pizza party tickets, tokens, so that they can have more pizza at the pizza party when it comes around. And they get more pizza. What? Danielle?
The guy I was talking to is actually on the committee, the one that was sitting at the end.
Yep.
And he was asking me about that too, and I said we have a whole list of research on our website about that.
Good.
Yep.
What did he say?
He took a brochure and was like, I'll look into that.
Good. Yeah, there's at least 3, 4, or 5 research studies on our site from the last 10 years on screen time and where the deficits start to overcome the benefits. And it basically works each one. There was another one that just came out, which I added in here, that just came out, saying the same thing. After about 1 to 2 hours, the deficits start to outweigh the benefits. There are benefits. If you're doing a screen time, a video game, either on a phone or whatever, about 1 hour a day, 1 to 2 hours a day, you're actually probably going to score better than the person who has no screen time. You're actually getting benefits over the person who has no screen time. There have been people pushing for years no screen time. Recreation therapy, all the older recreation therapists, like literally we have professors who their kids, they didn't have televisions in their house for 20 years. They banned their kids from screens and such. They were really hardcore about it. Well, they kind of missed out a little bit. So too much screen time is not good for you. 1 to 2 hours a day is actually beneficial. And Jane McGonigal is a huge advocate for video games. She wants everybody in the world to try to play half an hour or more of video games every day. She's a big advocate for it, helps with brain development, etc. She comes up in our quizzes and tests as well. So there's just another study that just came out, a well-researched one, and everybody was saying I didn't get a chance to read much of it, but I skimmed it. And it shows the same kind of chart. Around 1 to 2 hours, you keep showing better mood and better health and all this. Then start now for them, the deficits were pretty minor because they were measuring like mental. I haven't had the chance for the details. It was more, the deficits were pretty minor compared to some of the other studies where the deficits start to overcome considerably. These are always tricky because they're very multivariable issues. But basically it's a 5th study or so that says the same thing. 1 to 2 hours seems to be good for you, more than that's not. I think we're starting to see a pattern. It's not all or nothing, it's not all nature, it's not all nurture, it's not no screen time, it's not all screen time. It's that you need life balance.
Now, if we can only convince the players.
Yes.
This is where moderation
Well,
begins.
so what Spark Central is doing is offering bribes, token economy, that if they will engage in the drop-in and whatever activity that they're doing each day, they get more pizza tokens. They are specifically going out of their way to push our programs and some of the others, but they were specifically said they're trying to push our program because of the socialization aspect, because the others aren't necessarily social.
Right.
So they really are supporting. And it worked. We had 4 kids instead of 2. 2 of them were first time there. Now those 2 kids, they wanted to turn into killers right away. They were looking to be evil right away. And I explained to them the shadow points and how they would lose control of their character if they became too evil. And they were kind of like, you know. Yeah.
The older lady who works the desk is actually going out of her way to spend her own time at Spark Central to call those kids a week before and talk to their parents and be like, just so you know, that RPG thing they did last week is in on Thursday.
Yeah. When we get a chance to get our foot in the door, where Hutton Settlement didn't let us get in there, when we get a chance to get our foot in the door, this is what happens. Other people start doing our work for us once we get a chance to start showing it. It's awesome. I hope that in a few months we'll start needing multiple tables, running simultaneously, not just the one. We're on that verge. So one of the kids, they're brand new, never role played before. They wanted to be hack and slash. We try to discourage that. It's not that we're against combat, but we need it balanced. I rolled and the wolves chased so you guys ran into the wolves. They what happened was they first ran into the mountain goats before you guys missed the mountain goats. In this case, the mountain goats got chased by the wolves onto the narrow path. They all had to get out of the way of the goats, and they'd run past, and then they'd run into the wolves, right? The wolves were chasing the goats. But one of them decided to hack away at one of the goats, and he kind of killed a goat or wounded one, and was like, like, it was just a little innocent goat, why'd you kill it? The other guy's like, oh, he did that, I'm going to do that. Well, he critted the hit, but then he fumbled his acrobatics, and they're balancing on a precarious cliff. So I describe it as your sword gets stuck in there because you cleaved it right through it. He's like, yeah! But your sword is stuck and you're off balance and you end up falling off the cliff with the goat. 100-foot cliff, and slam, roll damage, slam, roll damage, slam, roll damage. You went at the bottom unconscious. Oh crap. He was not happy about it. I kept warning him, like, don't do bad things in this game. Bad things happen. It's just consequences of actions. So he fumbled his first death save. Which means 2 out of 3 gone. So then one of the other kids jumped down there as fast as he could, which is good, right? And tried to resuscitate him. Or was that, who was doing that? Charles, you remember?
Who was doing what?
The elf that ran down there to try to resuscitate the kid that fell?
Oh, I kind of did that, or slash the...
Yeah, because you guys kind of moved around and handed things off, so I got a little confused. Well, anyway, so he ended up not making it. And so then he's like you could see tears welling up in this kid's eyes. I was like, oh man. He's only an hour and a half to the game and he lost his character. Crap. I'm like, boy, aren't you glad he didn't make this character? So I was like, okay, next thing you know, boom, you're the elf pushing down, and this guy just died that you're just trying to save. And anyway, so he got back into the game and he pulled back up. But yeah, he was feeling really bad. And so I said, well, let's stop for a second and just think about what choices could you make differently that wouldn't have led to that happening? Not attack the goats and just let them run past. That's probably not a bad idea. Because were they a threat to you? They were a danger, but was it easy enough to avoid them? Yeah. Was the unnecessary gratuitous violence really necessary? Yeah. So then they had the wolves coming out.
The only reason I attacked the goat was so that I could see if they would pile up and go off the cliff.
Lovely.
It's Danielle's fault.
So, anyway, the ghosts run by, and then they got to deal with the wolves, and they handled the wolves well, got out of there, didn't kill a bunch of them like you guys did, but that's fine. See, it was okay for them to kill the wolves, but they weren't supposed to kill the goats. So, anyway, and it's only because he rolled what he rolled. I wouldn't have done that intentionally. It's just, oh, well, crap. I was like, I'm so sorry. That sucks. But, here's another character. There you go. It's good to have character death and then realize you can just keep playing. So, but they loved it. And at the end, they're just like, they wanted to do more, and they hated they have to wait a month, but they're like, we'll do it again next month. Will you be here? Like, oh, yeah. So that was very cool. It was nice to get a little bit more diversity in the group there, too. I think one was Native American, and the other was African American mix and such. And so that was nice to get this one kid who's now kind of the veteran. He's now been there for all 4 sessions. Nice. He drew these the maps on the board, on the battle map. We got pictures of it. He did this beautiful job of, like I'm just drawing basic lines. No, he's turning into 3-dimensional little drawings and arrows pointing.
You got someone hooked.
Oh, yeah. Oh, no, he's totally, but he's in charge now, right? He's kind of bossy that way, but he's totally, the buy-in is awesome. So it is great, and the other volunteers were just so happy to see what was happening there.
That also seemed to help him with his attention deficit.
It did. It gave him something to do because he's definitely hyperactive there.
You just need something to focus on.
We need something to do. Yeah, and so he was drawing, and I had to kind of stop him because he's like trying to draw too much, but that was very awesome. So that went really well, and we're at 3 hours now instead of 2, which gives us a better time window. And I hope someday that'll turn into a weekly thing. I think we're heading that way where that'll become a weekly thing. And it's a great location for that. We've got other helpers, so it isn't just dependent on our staff. They're there to intercede. We had one kid who they tried to bribe him to joining, and he was completely disruptive. Didn't want anything to do it. He was only there because he was trying to get his tokens, and was really disruptive. You know, he's a kid who's struggling, and really wasn't interested. And we don't want to force people to do this. We want them to try it. But I was like, yeah, let him go. But then he kept interrupting the game because now all his friends were playing the game and they weren't with him, and he was trying to sabotage him a little bit there. That kid, you know, needs some work. And so we had to have them draw him away to not interrupt the game. I was like, you can be in the game, around the game, but you can't be interrupting the game. That's not cool. So, what's that?
I said before you got there, he was actually doing the same disruptive behavior when they were playing.
Yeah, no, that you could tell that's his pattern. That is his pattern. So yeah, not a surprise. Okay, we're going to cover very quickly because we have to switch to the broadcast in a minute. RPG session frequency and duration optimization recommendations and limited discussion here. So, very short version, the minimum that seems to be a good amount where you can get a little bit of flow state, keep the story going, keep people engaged, for frequency is once a week and at a duration of 3 to 4 hours. I've experimented all the way from 15 to 30 minutes as the lowest, and daily, to, or even twice a day, you know, little snippets, to 24-hour sessions, 24 hours long sessions, and I'm not counting extra light because we didn't go 24 hours. We stopped a few hours short. But 24-hour sessions, you know, once a year, once a week, what have you. And everything in between. Now, when I played, we loved to do 6 to 8 hours once a week was great. And I was running 3 sessions on the weekends, 2 on Saturday, 1 Sundays. I don't have the stamina to do that consistently anymore, I think, without a break. And what I've noticed for most people is about 3 or 4 hours, they need a break anyway. You might even, in between, take a short 5 or 10 minute break.
Oh, yeah.
Above the 3 to 4 hours, you need to give people a 15-minute break anyway. And so it takes for people to get back into the flow again. Sometimes they don't get there again. It varies. So 4, 5, 6 hours is great if it's once a week, but 3 is kind of the minimum. We can do 90 minutes to 2 hours, and I've watched Wheelhouse Workshop do their 90-minute things, but I don't think they're experiencing the same levels of flow. And
you kind of have to get in there early.
It's not. All the tests I've done, 90 minutes isn't enough for once a week to really maximize. Again, this is about optimizing, maximizing experience. Not that you don't get some of the experience, but I think you get a much paler version. 3 hours, you've got enough time to do some pretty good stuff. 4 hours, I think you really hit it. But 3 to 4 hours, kind of the minimum if it's once a week. Now, if it's daily or 5 days a week, half an hour to an hour actually works okay. You can do half-hour to 1 hour segments. Get something done in a half. Less than half hour doesn't really work. It's hard to.
That's actually when I first got into D&D. It was half an hour every day during lunch.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. I did that. Yeah, we did that during lunchtime too, and that works okay when it's that short a distance in time.
Yeah.
Our memory's still fresh enough, and you can continue, and you can actually get in flow and do pretty well. And really, doing 3 hours a day, 5 days a week is too much. People start to get a little antsy, and you have to break it up more. So right around an hour, if it's several times a week, an hour or 2 is plenty. Unless you have some really hardcore ones, then of course it'd be as many hours. There's never enough. But that seems to work pretty well. What's that?
It's like my job is to play.
Yeah. But that seems to work pretty well if it's that frequent. So if you're in a long-term care facility where they need daily activity, you can just slot an hour or 2, and as long as it's every day or 5 days, 3 days, whatever, it'll flow okay. They'll have a good time. 3 hours a day, that often it just starts to become too much of a commitment. They start going, well, I want to do other stuff and whatever. But at an hour a day, they're happy. But if it's weekly, which is kind of the standard, you need 3 hours. Really below 3 hours, even at 3 hours, you feel a little rush. You get up to that 4 hours, it feels a lot better.
Yeah.
So that's kind of the minimum max there, and it depends on age and attention deficit and all these other things. But the research of covering the whole range really seems to fit that. Now, lots of us as gamers just kind of naturally figured that out anyway. but I try to really control for assessments and such.
Yeah.
So there is that. Okay, so we got to switch to the other broadcast. I'm going to stop this stream and then start the stream back up for our Patreon supporters.
Yay!
RPGresearch.com.
Where this meeting really gets exciting.
Yeah, we'll kind of rehash it, but more quickly.
I have my face up here for the thing.
Please tell me our website's not still down. It's still down. Oh, I hope we didn't get hacked or something. And GoDaddy blew us up. Yeah, the sites are still. That is not good. I may have to call support and say, hey, restart your server.
5 minutes ago.
Because since they upgraded and moved us to this dedicated server, I don't think it's been as good. Alright, come on, stop streaming. Dashboard, start. And quote my Patreon page and give them the link. Oh, Sarah Bowman had a nice thing on Jim Carrey on losing himself inside Andy Kaufman and reliving it for a documentary. That's an interesting little tidbit. All right, let's see here. Link. We're live. Nope. Okay. I think we're live. Okay, we are streaming. Hello, folks. Hello, welcome to the RPG Research Patreon stream. Right now, if you're a Patreon supporter, it should be live for you. If you're the higher levels, lower levels, you'll get access to this weeks before the general public. We are having a few challenges and technical issues. It looks like GoDaddy hosting of our website is blown up at the moment. I hope that is not going to be a long-term issue, because I was on it this afternoon and it was working fine, so hopefully, at least, we'll see. Let's see, John, looking at our notes for today's broadcast, the first thing is to talk about Discord server. Make sure we get everybody to join us in there. You want to talk about that briefly, John?
The Discord server, discordapp.com. You can look up RPG Research and see us there. We are talking on there to our new members there. And I am posting that we are now live for Patreon.
Yes. And
if I can spell it correctly.
What?
Patreon.
Patreon.com, patreon.com/RPG Research is our Patreon page. But join us on our Discord chat server. We have a growing community there at discordapp.com. You can if you're a Patreon supporter, you should see on patreon.com/RPG Research posting with a link inviting you to join our Discord server. And so that's where our chat is. And then if you are a Patreon supporter, we can invite you into the Patreon only channel, which is where we can give you links to exclusive video and photos long before the general public. We're still working on getting all that going as we build up our Patreon supporter numbers, but those of you early adopters can help us work through all that and get you that content long before the general public. Some of the content, it takes us months to get around to getting it ready for general public. So you get research and other experiences long before everyone else. Let's see, here is live link to the video stream for Patreon supporters. I am posting this in our Patreon page momentarily.
Now the one I have up on Facebook, that is, that link will take you directly there, correct?
Directly where?
To the Patreon broadcast. Or that'll just take us to our Patreon page.
That'll just take you to the Patreon page. which will then, and now I'm making that page only visible to patrons. For our YouTube link, it's now there on our Monday, November 27th, 2017, RPG Research Patreon supporters broadcast. Man, I'm going to have to up the bandwidth here because it is chunking out. It's having so many people over Skype. So on Skype, we have remoted in right now Danielle. Say hello, Danielle.
Hi, guys.
And Charles.
Hi, everybody.
And Brad wasn't able to join us. Work had him way too busy to be able to make it in today. And Drake was having some other issues, so he wasn't able to join us today. But Danielle's joining us from Cheney, and Charles is joining us from Deer Park. And then we've got John, and one of our newest volunteers besides Brad, we have Dan. Of course, I'm Hawk Robinson, founder and president of RPG Research. Just a reminder, we are a non-profit incorporated company in Washington State. We are not yet a 501c3. We are working towards that and keep raising money and such to be able to cover the legal costs to do that. But we're getting there a step at a time. Thank you so much, Patreon supporters, in helping and believing in us and helping make all of this possible. There's a lot going on. So, one of the things that came out recently is an article published by Columbia Chronicle, and we are going to paste that link for you in the Patreon supporters Heroes Text, the Patreon supporters Heroes Text Discord chat room. So if you just join our own Discord channel and you say, hey, I'm a Patreon supporter, I want to have my special access. If you're not able to get in there automatically, in theory, Patreon should automatically give you access. If you're at the right donor level, you should already have permissions through your Patreon login to our Discord. That's part of the reason why we're using Discord, is it now supports the Patreon API for permission level. So your donor level directly impacts what you can access. So that makes it a lot easier. So you will see a link in there to that article. It is Adolescents Roll High on Unique Mental Health Care Options. And they interviewed the Adams from Wheelhouse Workshop, Jack Birkenstock from the Badana Group and Roll Against Fear, Save Against Fear, and myself. And it's a higher level article than I thought it would be because she had asked some really good, deep questions. It ended up being a lot shorter and not as deep as I thought it would be. So she got some great info. I'm afraid the article doesn't reflect all of it, but it's a good high level intro for a lot of people. And it's always nice to get that press and such. And it also helps me in my process of the more I get interviewed. You know, I tend to bloviate a lot, and hopefully I'll slowly get better at being pithy with practice. Maybe, in theory, it could happen someday.
Gave her more information than she could remember.
Well, she recorded everything, so.
We retained 7 items.
Yeah. Well, okay. We're going to talk cognitive neuroscience. That's what I'm doing right now. You start talking about chunking and everything else, and familiarity, and why is it that when you look at it, when a professional chess player looks at a chess thing and can summarize, can recount every move in a game, whereas a noob can barely recount 2 or 3 or 4 moves. Part of it is familiarity because they can create associations and links and pull on those, and so that makes it stronger in memory than when it's not, when it's completely alien and new. Anyway, tangent. But role-playing game can help with that because it can create associations and links and help reinforce those memories and such. Thus, it makes it a great learning and powerful tool. There, I brought it back in. We were talking about the Hutton settlement last broadcast. That fell through. We didn't even get a chance to present to them. We were days away from the scheduled time to present. We got an email saying that some of the staff and such didn't think this would be interesting to the kids. I get the feeling that some older staff members with inculcated attitudes from the 80s intervened because she had been so excited for the past year and was so excited to be back in touch and making this happen. And then just all of a sudden, boom. They said, well, maybe we'll do something in our summer program, but I haven't heard a response to that, and I get a feeling that something happened there. That's unfortunate. I think those kids would have greatly benefited from this program. Hunt Settlement's kind of an orphanage, basically, modern version of it. Really nice facility. I mean, they got all kinds of stuff. One interesting thing I found out is they have a tendency that if they like something there, they stop outsourcing and just bring it in-house. So I've talked to a number of people now, some recreation therapy groups and some recreation groups who used to bring stuff there to do with them, but then they eventually just go and buy all of it and then just do it themselves. If the kids like it well enough and stuff, they stop using external sources. I've spoken to 3 different groups in the last month, companies that were doing stuff there, pro bono, some of them was paid, and that each of them over the years, Hunt Settlement just went ahead and in-housed it after a while. So that was interesting. That was news to me. That doesn't matter for us, but it was just an interesting tidbit to share. So that was too bad because it was close to where John was, and I think they would have gotten a great benefit. It's not ruled out for the summer, but we'll see. Our schedule's filling up, so we'll see. Meanwhile, enthusiastic support by Ivan Van Norman. Let me post this in the Discord chat for our hero supporters. By the way, is Carrie Lynn in?
I can't see her on here.
Did you want to call her, text her, or anything? Because she's a good guinea pig for all this.
Yeah, she most certainly signed up for it.
So anyway, Ivan Van Norman was... Charles, talk a little bit about Ivan Van Norman. You seem to know the most about him.
Charles, are you live?
Did we lose Charles?
I think we might have.
Charles!
I was visiting the Discord page real quick, so I had to get back to this.
Okay, yeah, understood.
Ivan Van Norman is doing a lot of GMing games on Geek and Sundry right now. Some of you may know him from Foreververse. That's the most recent one he's doing on the Geek and Sundry channel. He's also an author of a book by the name of ABCs for RPGs, which is just coming out here for the Christmas season. And he's a very good GM, and he's worked with Felicia Day, Will Wheaton, Matt Mercer. I always want to say Dave Navarro, but that's the band member from Foo Fighters, but it's something Navarro of Geek and Sundry. Hector Navarro, that's what it is, Hector Navarro. So yeah, check him out on Geek and Sundry, and definitely check out the Twitch link to hear him sing our praises a little bit.
Yep, and yeah, totally. So right around 32 minutes and 42 seconds, he starts talking about our efforts. I met him when we were at Fan Nexus convention in October, and he was so excited about what we were doing, and the trailer he thought was just awesome. Described it as basically a mobile living room on wheels. So I was like, oh, I like that. Yeah. And so the hosts of Dragon Talk, which is Wizard of the Coast video cast on Twitch, was Greg Tito and co-host Shelly Mazanoble. Shelly Mazanoble is now mostly running the what's the name of the division? It's the board games division.
Right. Avalon Hill.
Avalon Hill, yeah, she's mostly running that. But she also wrote Confessions of a Part-Time Sorceress, a girl's guide to the Dungeons & Dragons game. So she was on there as well. And so Ivan starts singing our praises, which was wonderful, about all the things we're doing with autism and using programs to teach and all this other stuff, and the trailer. And Greg was like, when he described the trailer and the mobile, he's like, that sounds like my retirement, just drive around the countryside in a mobile living room gaming all. That's and so then there's like, well, and he's like, so Ivan's like, you got to get them on here, and they're like, yeah, we're booking them. They're booked right now. We're booking them right now. Haven't heard from them yet, so ping them to say, hey, when's RPG Research going to be on your show? Get a little guerrilla marketing going there to encourage them to reach out to us. Because I tweeted a thank you to Ivan. Ivan had called me after the show and let me know. I'm spreading the word. Another thing, and I forgot to write it in here, that Ivan told me over the phone, still a work in progress, We'll see if it happens or not. You know, people have the best of intentions, but Ivan seems to be following through. He's talking to the brand manager for the International Tabletop Role-Playing Game Day that they do every year, the big international event, about trying to make us the sponsored charity of the year.
Nice.
Yeah. If that happens, woot, woot, woot. That will get us on a few more radar horizons, I think, to mix metaphors. So we'll see how that goes, but that would be awesome if they do that. Even if it's to like help us become a 501c3, right? Like, great, donate to us so we can afford to become a 501c3. Great.
If you want to see us on Dragon Talk, tweet at Shelly Moo, at Greg Tito, and at Hydra_Lord about at RPG Research, and let them know that you want to see us on their show.
So Shelly Moo is Shelly Mazanoble, Hydra Lord is Ivan Van Norman, and Greg Tito is Greg Tito.
Because he uses real
He's the main host on Dragon Talk, yeah. And that's Wizards of the Coast. So it's kind of odd, though, is as he was telling them all about us, Shelly Mazanoble and the other guy said, oh, we've never heard of him. We've never heard of him. We've never heard of him. Well, just this summer, as you guys know, you Patreon supporters especially, because we didn't really, after we got some response, we kind of just kept sharing with the Patreon supporters. It was Shelly who hooked us up with getting the license. We have, at the time, I don't know if they give it to anybody else since, but at the time, the only license in the world to use Dungeons & Dragons for what we use it for with all the educational and therapeutic and other programs, legally. Everybody else is doing it on a license at their own peril, and they made that clear that, yeah, people do it, but it's not technically okay, and it's in the trailer, that's where it is. Anyway.
It's conveniently located somewhere else.
It's in the trailer. It's a good place for it. So, but it was Shelly who, what happened was I tried to get through the normal support line to ask this, and I kept getting just shut down by the Tier 1 support people. And I went, what the heck? And then they're telling me, no, you can't use it even for non-profit or anything. And I'm like, no. So I posted on Facebook. It caused a little bit of a social network firestorm. Not a huge one, but a good-sized one. Shelly Mazanoble pinged me like, hey, I'm sorry this is happening. Let's see if I can help you. Held my hand trying to get through the firewall, the corporate firewall, she described it, to get me talking to the right people. Next thing you know, John and I were on the conference call with a couple of their people, our people who were talking to their people, and they were hammering out exactly what we wanted to do, what we couldn't do. It was exactly what we wanted. Because we did not want it where we had to use only D&D. We wanted to be able to use anything we wanted. And they said, yeah, you can do this as long as you do other products. We're like, perfect. That's exactly what we need. Yeah. And also that we don't exclusively just list them, right, promotionally, whatever. We can mention them, but just that it's not the header for everything.
You're not the D&D therapy group.
Right. We use role-playing games for therapy that happen to include D&D, things like that. So it was perfect. It was exactly the license, and it gives us, it's revocable. They can revoke it anytime, but it's in perpetuity, and it's all of our projects under my name, etc. So wonderful that we got that just to cover our base. And we've been trying to get that with Paizo, and they've been non-responsive. Cubicle 7 responded saying, yeah, do anything you want as long as it doesn't violate copyright. But that's kind of the problem. We've talked about this before, where public performance of copyrighted work kind of gets into a copyright problem, and role-playing gaming does that, especially if you do it in a public setting, like a old convention or a game store. Mm-hmm. So we've been trying to get permission that says you can do it in any of these settings, no problem. Paizo unresponsive. It would be nice to actually get them to respond. Cubicle 7 responding, but not really getting it. Monty Cook Games, unresponsive at this point, I believe. And I think that's as far as I've gone with pinging people this summer. I need to go through and do it again. But getting the wizard thing. Anyway, Shelly has no memory of us, despite that. So that's unfortunate. But if you can ping them, hopefully they'll reach out to us. We'll get on their show and get in front of a lot more eyeballs and, as the Two Bards say, ear holes. That's a Two Bards podcast I listen to. So that's a fun little tidbit there.
Excuse me.
And Ivan's been awesome, so I hope he keeps up his proselytizing for our benefit, because that's going to really help us a lot. Let's see. Okay, got all that. Okay, so that's about that. And again, we posted that Twitch link in the Patreon's channel on our Discord server. And if you show up later and want to get access to those links, just ping us. We're loitering in there, and we'll gladly help you get that access. Again, you should be able to get to there automatically just by clicking it. But if you have any trouble, I'll gladly walk you through it. You may end up seeing this later as a recording if you're not seeing it live right now. And let's see. Oh, what's going on in general? Somebody's saying something. Oh, that's just...
That's free advertising.
Oh, okay. All right, cool. Meanwhile, we're having to look for a storage/warehouse facility. My neighbors are upset with the appearance of the trailer and the bus sitting in my driveway. It's in my driveway. It's not blocking anybody, but they don't like how it looks. And I'm in a fairly nice neighborhood here, and some of them are very appearance-oriented. I'm generally not one of the keep up with the Joneses type people. You know, I've done fairly well in the computer world, things like that, and have been fortunate in a number of ways. But I was never really one of the keep up with the Joneses people. I was CTO doing the SiliconValley.com thing, and the VP of Finance wanted to take me out to lunch to get to know me better when I was new there. And he wanted to go in my car, and then I was driving an '83 Bronco that I rolled the week before moving out to California for the job. Mm-hmm. And so it chopped the top off, put a Jeep, I used to be a mechanic a long time ago, put a Jeep roll cage and a bikini top on, and a 1967 International Scout windshield welded on, and primered it all black so that I could drive it out there, right? Because I only had a week. And this was the vehicle I was taking out to California before I moved my family out there. So it's a primer black '83 Bronco that had been rolled with an International Scout windshield welded on. It does not fit. It's too small. And a Jeep bikini top and stuff.
A Frankenstein.
It was a Frankenstein. That's what they call it. It was a Frankenstein. But it worked great. I didn't want to give it up because I just souped up the engine and everything when I've been off-roading. And you know, I had an RV or some sort of high-end cam. And, you know, I was pushing 300-something horsepower out of that 351 and didn't want to just throw it away. Unit and laser light distributor, etc. Anyway, today in California, so we got a lot, and he's like, "You drive this piece of bleep? Like you're making 6 digits. Why don't you go buy a BMW or something?" And I'm like, "It works great. I'm in California. It only rains like 1 or 2 months out of the year here. I've got the Crown Victoria for that. I've got this in my motorcycle for lane splitting. What do I need another car for? This is great." And by the way, in 4 low, it'll smoke a 2002 Camaro SS up from 0 to 35.
So is the Millennium Falcon.
35. Yeah, the Millennium Falcon. It doesn't look like much, but it'll do, what, how many parsecs past the Kessel Run, whatever? Charles?
Kessel Run, Charles. How fast did we do it?
12. It's not a speed, but it's 12 parsecs.
Right, 12 parsecs.
It's a distance.
Anyway, well, what did he say then when he says it doesn't look like much, but it'll do, what, 0.5 past light speed or something like that? Can't remember the line now.
Yeah, 0.5 past light speed is where he goes with that one.
Yeah, okay. Yeah, he keeps correcting us because we keep screwing up on it's not speed, darn it, it's distance. Sorry. Anyway, so he gave me so much grief. What's that?
I said I got to stick up for Han on that one, and then he shot first.
You bet. So anyway, he just totally gave me grief about this ugly beater. But it ran great. Why do I care? It was perfect for California, except for one problem. The engine stuff I had in it and the laser distributor all said not legal in the state of California. I was in Utah when I built it all up. And I moved to California. So there was no way I could get a license in California. So as the plates started to expire, I donated to charity for Cars for Kids or whatever. And I got like a $5,000 tax write-off, which is way more than I would have gotten selling it. So anyway. And I've had 2 other Broncos since then. So still have one. So don't worry about keeping up with the Joneses. I try to do what's practical. The bus is practical. It's not pretty, but it's going to be extremely utilitarian as we get it all fixed up, and it'll be awesome. But it won't ever be pretty.
That's pretty while you work on it in your car. I mean, in the garage, in the parking lot.
Yeah, it'll never be pretty. It'll never be a pretty bus. That even when a brand new paint job, a perfectly straight and everything else, it's a bus. It will never be pretty. I will never be able to make these neighbors happy no matter what I do to it. And if I listen to any of the people who are like, oh, you should tie-dye it like a 1968 bus, or something like, oh, neighbors would love that. Anyway, so one of the neighbors came to me who does have talks to me all the time and said, 3 or 4 of the other neighbors and I can no longer stand this. Look at this. You need to get rid of it. Get it out of here. And I'm like, well, that will, we do all this for charity. I'm trying to keep my costs low so that any money goes straight to the programs. It's all coming out of my own pocket for the most part, except for you wonderful donors. But I don't want us to have a lot of administrative overhead like other companies, where it's 96% overhead and 4% to the community. I want it the other way, right? As close to the other way as possible. And to do that, you got to, look where you can save money. And storage for the trailer and the bus is going to be $300 to $400 a month. So I was like, keep it in my driveway. It doesn't cost me anything. And I'm not blocking anybody. They don't like it. And I don't want to be at war with my neighbors. I have verified I'm not violating any legal codes here for the county because I'm in the county, so there's no legal recourse they can take, but I don't want to be at war with my neighbors. So I started looking at storage. Storage is $300 to $400 a month just for the bare bones storage shed that'll just squeeze those in. And then it occurred to me, boy, $300 to $400 a month just to store them, and half the time, they're going to be moving around anyway. That's a big waste of money. Is there any way to recoup that so it's not such a waste? And it occurred to me yesterday, driving back from Tucson. By the way, I hope everybody had a great Thanksgiving. Gobble. Maybe if I could find a warehouse in that price point that was a little bigger, that we could use it to run activities, and also more space for the other trailer when we finally get the other trailer. Maybe that would be a way to turn this from lemons into lemonade. So we're looking at it, and it looks like there are, it's hard to find. Most of the warehouses are more than we can afford, but there are a few here and there that might be 1,000, 2,000 square feet. We need 624 square feet just to fit the vehicles. So 1,000 to 2,000 give us a little more space. That might be in that $300 to $400 range, give or take, per month. So I've just started. It's been 2 days. It was a week ago I got, pinged by the neighbors, but just got back from Tucson. So we're now actively looking for a space to put the trailer and bus in that hopefully will be a warehouse, and then maybe we can do like the drum circles and stuff like that. Speaking of the drum circles, those people that we did that workshop for were so excited about what they did. They all want a monthly drum circle. We've got a lot on our plate, and so I'm not going out of my way to push that because it is related to what we do with the RPG therapy and all of that.
But they're paid customers, right?
Well, that's what's different. They want to run a monthly thing that will be a fundraiser for what we're doing. They want to raise funds for us. So they want us for the first few sessions to help them facilitate while they get the hang of it. And I'm like, yeah, okay. But she's going through the trouble trying to find a space, make sure it's wheelchair accessible, because we had somebody show up in a wheelchair for that workshop, and she had to crawl down the stairs of that studio. So, and we're like, see, this is what we're raising money for. It's exactly what we're talking about. Mm-hmm. Wow, we got $186 for 2 hours with it from 8 people. That was awesome. So they want to make it a monthly thing, and not so much a class, but just a monthly groove, but being facilitated. So we've agreed to that. That's going to start possibly the first Sunday of January and be the first Sunday of each month after that around 2 p.m. But she's still trying to find a place. If we can find a warehouse that is halfway usable, livable, spacious enough to do that, maybe that will be the answer. I don't know yet. We'll see. But that's one possibility. Meanwhile, she's trying to find space anyway. But awesome to have that buy-in. So that is spinning up additional support from a whole community there. That was awesome. That really went way better than what was expected. I was a little bummed because we had space for 35 people and only 8 showed up. But wow, a really engaged 8. Yeah.
You gotta start somewhere.
Yeah, exactly. Anyway, okay. So, Spark Central. We recently got bumped up to 3 hours from 2 hours. So from 4 to 7 instead of 5 to 7. That really helps. We had 2 new kids who'd never been to Spark Central before.
nor had ever role played. Spark Central is really, they love what they're seeing happen. Danielle or Charles, you guys were there. Why don't you guys talk a little more? Because I'd love to have you guys talk more than me, as when possible.
So we were so liked by the people at Spark Central that they're actually going to pre-call some of the regular kids and the kids we have interacting a little bit and talk to the parents, tell them this is what they're doing. We love to see them when we're in the Spark Central.
Yeah, to remind them, like, hey, don't forget, tomorrow is role play, or next week is role play Friday. Make sure your kids are here. They don't want to miss that. Because the kids are really stoked. They're like, oh, that's today, yeah! That's awesome. Charles, you want to talk about some of your observations of the game?
So, with having the 2 newer players and being able to expand it to more of a full party, it was a chance to really, one, start to see the co-op side really come out. As well as the people that we call our veterans now, who've been there for the 4 or 5 games, they're really stepping forward to help lead the way. They're also learning. One of them takes a little bit too much control.
He does.
He's learning to keep himself busy on the side as well.
Yeah.
But for the first timers to come in, and the one kid had his character for an hour to an hour and a half when his character died. And you see the emotion that overcame him for just a second until we said, no, you know what, it's always smile and move on. He was emotionally overcome for a minute. He was really, tears welled up, and he was going to be upset to leave his friends. He thought maybe he was done, like elimination style. But we pulled him back into the group, and he had a great time. It's great to see kids who play these first-person shooter games and more violent, edgy games that are out there, sit down and learn to co-op a game together and socialize. And it takes them a minute at first, but a half hour into the game, you can't stop any of them. They're just on a roll. And it's amazing to watch.
They get so engaged. And that kid, what happened was, when one character died, we had a couple others that... So, you guys were the volunteers who were helping, and so you were able to hand over one of those characters to let him play, and that way he was able to keep going. Failing that, if it had already been booked, then we just grabbed another pre-gen, and when you guys came up to the cave a little later, like, hey, there's somebody camping here. Hey, how you doing? And we would, because these are short sessions, we would hurry quickly, or, to quote the gamers, you look like a trustworthy fellow. Come, join our party. Unlike a long-term campaign with longer sessions where you can integrate more slowly. But you gonna say something, Danielle?
Yeah. So one thing that we did was me and Charles both were playing characters, and it really helped to keep it going too, so that way we could interject. But also that big thing of we were able to both hand off our characters to the people who were either supposed to be playing them or need to be playing them. And that's something that if you're running a community group, that might be, especially with kids, something you might want to do.
Yeah, and lets it be. Well, we had one other guy actually there who was part of the Spark Central program try it out. Remember? I keep forgetting to mention him. So his girlfriend's been gaming for years, but won't let him join because she's afraid he's a new guy and will ruin the game.
Aww.
I'm like, that's a switch.
So that's what the other shoe looks like.
He had spoke with me about trying to start up a game at Whitworth University at some point.
Oh, good. So anyway, so he never got a chance to try, even though his girlfriend played every week, and that was her that was her special time. I'm tired from the road trip. And would not let him join. And I was just like, wow, that's interesting dynamic going on there. So he got to try take over one of the characters, let him play for a while, and then he had to do other things. And then you had that other guy who was watching that you were talking to who was very interested. Danielle, you were talking to him.
Yeah, so he's actually one of the board, I don't know exactly, he's like one of the board people who
Which guy? The guy who joined, or the other one who was just watching and talking to you?
The one who was just watching and talking.
Yeah, he's on the board.
And I think he was on the board. That's what he was talking about.
Okay.
And he also used to be a gamer in the 80s. He just really wanted to listen to us game.
For the nostalgia. Huh? So we had a whole range there, and that's the thing about when you do in these community centers. It's a chaotic setting. It is not the ideal gaming environment. It's kind of noisy to begin with, and so you got to be louder, and it's harder. Like at the end of whenever I do it in these larger facilities, my voice just gets shot at the end. And that's why I like the trailer and things like that better. It's such a much more ideal environment. Mm-hmm. But we're trying to get as many people exposed as possible, so we'll work under weather conditions. But yeah, great success. Great success. To use a Tor reference. Yeah. Success, great success and extraordinary success or whatever, something like that. But
we're working for that extraordinary success.
Yes, we're working towards it. We didn't quite have 6 participants, all non-volunteers, but it does help to have the volunteers at the table. It really does help keep the game flowing. It helps them nudge the group a little. I don't have to direct them as much because you guys are able to help nudge them a little, especially when they're new. Again, as you get these layers of experienced ones already playing, then they can kind of keep things going too. But again, we got to watch that one kid who didn't, he tried to dominate a little too much, and I had to rein him in a little, and we worked with it, and he had some great drawing talent that was awesome on the maps. We are on the verge of having to break into a second table. We'll have to decide whether we want to make it the same game, like it's a parallel aim game, like we do at Tolkien Moot, where everybody's playing the same adventure so they can compare and contrast and feel like they're all part of the same story. Or if we want it to be something completely different, like Star Wars, because Charles is very good at Star Wars. Or whatever else, as we have volunteers ramp up to be able to do this, what's the approach we want to take on that? That's going to be totally based on each setting. So you kind of take the pulse of your participants and figure out, well, do they all want to be in the same game? Or maybe they don't like fantasy role-playing. Maybe science fiction would be a lot more Star Wars. Oh yeah, let's do Star Wars. Might be a completely different group of kids that want to play Middle-earth. The only thing to watch out for is that you could suck away from the fantasy group, right? So you just have to you have to be really on your toes in these community settings. Changes all the time. It is quite different than your regular at-home gaming group. And it's a little different than pubs at a game store. Because at a game store, you've got more of an established gaming community and gaming attitude. Here at a community center where most of them have never role-played before, they don't know what to expect. They come from so many different backgrounds and way of looking at things. It's a very different thing, but it's really good to get out, reach out, and it was a nice ethnically diverse group, which is nice. Here in Spokane, it's hard to get that, but that was really great to see that happening, and the kids just lighting up, and they're so excited. They were bummed that it was going to be a month. They have to wait till the next game. There are rumors that Spark Central might like to bump us up to weekly, which would be a little different than drop in our role play. It would be a different segment to make it a weekly thing, but it keeps growing like this, that might happen. So onward! Well, any other last little tidbits on that before we move on there? Charles, Danielle, John, anybody?
I'm looking forward to at least every other week at Spark where the kids can remember what happened last week.
They've been, at least the kids so far, they've been pretty good at remembering what happened. Apparently they keep talking about it at Spark during the intervening month. And so the way memory works is you keep pulling it up and kind of re-entrench it. It gets a little distorted too, but that's another topic. But but they're, we're off doing other things. We don't really have time to sit and dwell on, other than when we talk about this, to really go back and talk about it. That's part of why we blog and log about these things. It helps us reinforce. But we will be running so many different groups. It's like, okay, where were we? Let me look at my notes. I don't remember. Often I turn to the players to say, where were we? Remind me. And then you have each of them go around and refresh. And it's great because for them, they generally aren't playing in other groups and such. And so for them, it's fresh. And it's a good way to get them back into the mode to have them do that too. So very exciting.
The other thing it does is give us time to set up.
Yes, it buys us time. That's right.
No,
They
keep
don't
talking.
know that.
Yeah, and what else happened? Scribble, scribble, scribble. And yeah, what else? Okay. So they already mentioned that Spark Central has been having behavioral problems with the screen. So we've been up in direct competition to the video game computers, Minecraft, etc., and the new VR system they had donated. Spark Central is a 501c3 nonprofit, and we've been in direct competition. There's a whole bunch of kids there. They won't come play the tabletop social game because most of them are from poorer families who can't afford such luxuries, and so they're there to get access to that. Spark Central is more about the books and education and socialization, but they were kindly donated all these computers, so let's use them. But they've been having they told us they've been having increasing behavioral problems with the kids when they play on there too long. So they've had to implement about an hour screen time limit, 45 minutes to an hour screen time limit, to break it up, because it's really, they didn't go into a lot of detail about what the behavioral problems were, but just that it was getting worse. And that the VR, they cranked all the way down to just 20 minutes at a time that they're limited to, because they were just having a lot of problems. So that was interesting. Now that fits our research of about an hour or two a day is positive, and more than that, the deficits outweigh the benefits. And we were talking with them a little bit about that. I mentioned that to them before, and they were seeing it. So they really, really like what they've seen with our programs. As those volunteers all watch and they see the kids light up, they're just like, wow, this is like nothing else here. There's nothing else where the kids get that interactive with each other and work together so much. These are all kids who don't know each other for the most part, and all of a sudden they're working together. And communicating. They're normally so quiet. A lot of these kids may, come from poor backgrounds, maybe abusive situations, who knows? And clearly some of them are struggling, and this just opens them up and they just light up. It's so awesome to see.
I do believe our programs too have been building friendship with a couple.
Yeah, I think it's creating new friendships. Exactly.
That's where I got most of my friends.
Yeah, I mean, there was a whole article I got interviewed for all about it. It's still waiting for it to appear in Men's Health Prevention magazine on role-playing games and building lifelong friendships. Mine's a mix. I made a few here and there. Most of the time, I had my gamer friends separate from my other friends, but there was some overlap. But I've seen so many lifelong friendships because of gaming. So one of the things they're doing to try to get the kids to try out the gaming, because they won't even try it because of the computers, is they've got screen time limit. They're now offering pizza party token bribes if they will try out the game. Just sit down and try it for a little bit, and whether you like it or not, you'll get pizza party tokens, so that when they have the weekly pizza party, you get more pizza. And so they're using a little reward system for that. One kid was old.
Invited to this.
What's that? We've been invited. Yes, we are invited. They've been invited us to everything. They really, it's great. This is what happens. I mean, MDA invites us to stuff. Like once we get our foot in the door, people really like what they see, and it's so different from other recreational activities. It's a double-edged sword, as we saw with Hunt Summit. So that's really awesome. And as you said, they're calling to remind them. They're really pushing to get them engaged in our programs, and that is awesome. So we now have not only buy-in from the initial people at Spark Central, everybody seems to be pushing to support it. So this I only see just growing exponentially, really. Okay, and we talked about the drum circle enthusiasm, right? We talked about that on the broadcast yet? Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, we did. Okay. So we'll be starting that tentatively January 7th, 2 p.m., the first Sunday of each month. We don't know the location yet. It could be in our future warehouse. It could be at some other location that they find. We will see.
I am available on January 7th for the first one.
Okay, not the second one.
But
not
if
February.
It's my every other month thing.
So it'll be, okay, well, that's fine. Between all of us, as long as I'm not alone, and even if it is, I did it alone for 13 years, I'll survive.
I think we're alone now.
Yeah. As long as many of you can participate as possible, that's great. Because you're the ones who need to get the experience of this. I've been doing this for a while, and it's your guys' opportunity. So, and since they're trying to raise money for us, we need to make a good showing. Deaf community engagement. So, a reminder that I run weekly sign language groups Saturday from 4 p.m. to 6 p.m. at the Garland Rocket Bakery, open to all levels. From 4 to 5 is absolute beginners. From 5 to 6 is intermediate on up, but beginners are welcome to stay so they can practice receiving, seeing us signing and talking and chatting. It's really good for you as a beginner because receiving is one of the hardest parts of sign. You can sign with somebody, but then they go blah, 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 and you're like, I can't keep up. You have to rewire your brain to keep up with it. So that's every Saturday and open to the public, and it's been growing. My girlfriend's been really helping with that too. And she's a stronger signer than I am too. I was really strong with it. I got sick in 2012, and it's been me a lot of years, so that's part of why we rebooted it. And when I got sick in 2012, here's an interesting thing. I keep referring everybody to go to all these other deaf activities that I used to participate in or promoted, or some of them I spun up back before I got sick from 2006 to 2012. So 2012 I got really, really sick from the lung thing, it was nearly terminal. And I'm still not the same person I was, health-wise, but better. And I wasn't able to, I had to drop almost everything. I kept the role-playing stuff going, but I had to cut way back. I had 12 groups at once running. I had to cut most of those just to get through the day and still do school. So I have SpokaneASL.com, which tells people to go all these activities. They all died in 2012, 2013. Like, all of them just stopped. And is that just a coincidence? I don't know. But like all of them, including Deaf Coffee Chat, which is a national thing that people all over the country meet at a local coffee place, and there's Deaf Chat Coffee website, etc. And it hadn't been updated since 2012, and that place that they were reading that doesn't exist anymore. Well, when I had been running it, originally before I was running it, there were like 4 to 9 people. And what was nice is you actually interacted with the actual deaf community, and you would have conversations, and it wasn't a study group, it was applied experience. Mm-hmm. But they welcomed to ASL1, you had more patient deaf community there. So I started promoting it, putting flyers up and everything, and slowly it grew it, and it got too big for the Starbucks we were at in the valley when we started to break like 30-something people. So we moved it up onto the South Hill. Eventually, like our record, I think, was like 60, 70 people showed up. So you just break it up into groups. So you could meet all these. It was immense. It was like, holy crap, just standing room only in the Starbucks. It was awesome. And
it goes kind of to show you that these are the people that just came out. You get 60 or 70 people.
There's about,
that means 200, 1,000
well, the
people
census estimates, well, the Department of whatever Disability Services estimates there's about 900, actually this is old, this is 2008 specs, I don't know what the new ones are, around 900 deaf and hard of hearing that are known in the Spokane Coeur d'Alene area. About 900. Now they can be pretty cliquey communities, but yeah, these are the ones who are willing to come out and be social, and that's the thing, they get heavily isolated. So that was awesome. It all died when I stopped. All of the groups died. All the study groups died.
How dare you get sick?
Yeah, well, it makes me worry about the whole cult personality thing there. Luckily, Other Minds magazine's still going because somebody else stepped up to keep it going. 2600's going because I got somebody else step up to keep it going. But it has to get to a critical state and keep going. Mm-hmm. I didn't have anybody to keep those groups going that I handed it off to. There was no person I trained, and so that's why I died. Or there was nobody to keep posting and reminding and all of that like I'd been doing and nudging people. Mm-hmm. And so it just went, and that was, I feel bad. So we're trying to reboot that. So starting January, I think second Thursday, I forgot to punch in the number here. Let me go to SpokaneASL.com. Oh wait, I hope it's up. Because it says GoDaddy's been having a lot of problems. Oh, that one worked.
Let me try to open.
Well, the redirect worked, but that's just a DNS redirect. It's not. Yeah, see if the other stuff's up. But okay, Spokane Deaf Coffee Chat is my #1 thing. So January 11th. So that is I believe that's the second Thursday. Yep. So the second Thursday of each month at the Starbucks on 4727 North Division Street. That is the Starbucks right on Division and Garland, right across from the North Town Mall. Division and Wellesley, right across from the Northtown Mall, just west of. It's a newer Starbucks. It's very nice. It's big and open, glass windows. It has a lot of space. That will be from 6 p.m. to 9 p.m., second Thursday of each month. And I've already cleared it with the Starbucks there, and they're cool with it. So that's starting in January. I will be there to help encourage that and help spread the word. Would welcome anybody to be there. Keep in mind, if you don't attend the study group and you don't know how to sign, you will be at a complete loss. So try to go to the weekly groups to get your signing skills. They don't have to be great, but you got to have something. You got to at least be able to fingerspell. and you can learn that at the study groups.
Very
slow. All right. Yes, I see you there, Danielle. So that's our engagement with the deaf community. I would love. I was starting to get to the point where I was getting ready to GM deaf gaming group, and then I got sick.
Wow.
Now what I want to try to do is if I can find someone again in the deaf community who has gaming experience or is willing to learn gaming experience. So there's some people in the deaf community who can still read lips just fine and can learn. But I really, really, really want to follow through because I have a whole program planned for the deaf community to use gaming. They're so isolated, and they were really excited about what I was setting up back then. But now my signing is not up to it anymore, so I've got to find somebody else who can do it. I just can't practice sign enough to be that proficient. So if you know somebody out there who wants to, is either really strong in ASL and or is deaf and wants to learn how to run a game, let me know, and I'll gladly walk you through it. It doesn't have to be here in Spokane. We can do stuff remotely. You know, we've got people from, we're going to hopefully have somebody from Vegas before too long, and we can train you elsewhere if necessary. Okay, thank you, Danielle. So today's educational discussion topics, we talked about flow. We were visited for the veterans here, but either new variant for Dan here. Brad wasn't able to participate this meeting, but hopefully he'll catch the recording. You can see on the big screen here where we stopped the video. You can view that video on our website. In fact, I should probably... Can somebody go grab that URL and put it in our Patreon channel? It should already be in the other channel.
It is.
When I post it. So copy and paste that into there. So that's the video. It's only 10 minutes. It's something I put together for a class. I forget which. And it's not like... I didn't have anybody else there, and the camera is slightly out of focus. It's on focus on the books behind me instead of on my face. It's the soft look. It's the glamour look. Right? Anyway, you know, like I was a professional photographer, but you have to be behind the camera to do that. And you know, I was doing all the lighting, everything myself.
Excuses?
Yeah, excuses.
He didn't use artistic license yet.
Oh, okay.
So anyway, it'd be great if I had other people to help run the AV, but it was just me. It doesn't have the text overlays I'd like to have, and really I'd like to redo that video completely. Exactly the same content, with the exact same video clips that are in it, but with more voiceover and with more photos and such and less of me. But I had to for the class, and it had to be mostly me.
Yeah.
So that was why it was that way. But it's still chock full of really useful information. If you want a really good 10-minute summary on flow state and related to role-playing games, I think this is a really good summary. Danielle, you were saying...
I really liked it. I've used it with some of my classmates. It's great. The content is just really there. And if you're having a hard time understanding flow, it's really a great place to go to.
So definitely check that out, and we got the link there for you. And the other videos mentioned are in the works. I'm hoping as you guys get trained up more, we can get these other videos shot and put together. It's more interesting when there's more people than just staring at my ugly mug. So I look forward to those other instructional videos being about that 10 to 15 minute range, and packed full of info and really useful, good stuff.
Yeah.
I think that's a great medium for this. Okay, we also covered briefly Bartle's taxonomy of players. There's a related one that I came across in the last month or two that I wasn't able to find today, that I need to dig up, that was built on that concept of player types. And thank you, Danielle. And so it's the killers, the explorers, the achievers, the socializers. we've talked about it before on this broadcast as well. And that's something I'd like to put together a video as well. It's on our quiz and our certification tests for the RPG advocacy test. It's an important thing because knowing what your player types are to help keep what their intrinsic motivation is for the game, you can work with that to keep them more engaged in the game and then stretch them beyond that. But if you assume they're explorers when actually they're killers and murder hobos, they're going to be really bored. Yeah. But if you know they're murder hobos and you want to get them to stretch to be explorers and socializers, you can go, okay, I know they're this, but I can start stretching them in this and use some sort of reinforcement technique to grow them into these other directions.
You are exploring to find people to murder. All right.
So that's something you'll hear us keep bringing up from time to time. I included it in some of my entry assessments. We'll include it in future ones. It is a useful tool, like many. Another topic we talked about, and we didn't get into much detail, but I'll try to hurry and summarize it here, is RPG session frequency and duration. We talked a little bit about this. So some of the important variables to consider are participant age and attention span. So if you got a more ADHD group, as we've had at Smart Central, longer sessions might not be the best way to go. Now, the sweet spot, as we talked about, is about once a week, minimum 3, maybe 4 hours a session. That's kind of the sweet minimum spot. You get enough time for a good flow experience. Story progresses. It's only a week apart, so you can remember the story. I have experimented over and over and over, and then using assessments of what people enjoyed and then seeing how the scores fluctuate, all the way from 15 minutes to an hour daily, to interspersed every other day, to interspersed every third day, just like every combination I could think of, to once a month, once a year. I've had campaigns like we do a Tolkien Moot once a year and see how that goes. Some of my research is more formal than others, but it's still useful observations.
And it is recorded.
And they are recorded sessions you can check out on the Tolkien Moot YouTube channel. And if your group's only meeting once a week, you really do need that 3 to 4 hours. Now, I know some groups do 90 minutes. You'll get some of the benefit, but you get a lot less out of it with that 90 minutes, even with kids and such. You really want to try to push that, get that 3 hours if you can. When you start to hit about 4 hours, people start needing breaks. You know, you might stick in a 5-minute break in a 3-hour session, 4-hour session, but once you start needing like a 15 to 20-minute break, that's a pretty good stopping point because people can kind of lose their flow. Now, it's not to say lots of people don't love to do a 6 or 8 hour session. I did 16-hour sessions. We did 24-hour sessions. I tried all of those, and people get exhausted. You can read in the Guild Companion magazine about Mercon 3, and Joe Mandela wrote about how I was the drug pusher of the 3-day binge of gaming, where it was just 3 days of gaming for Tolkien Moot 2007. And he does it all as it was very, very much a Fear and Loathing parallel. Fear and Loathing Las Vegas style for roleplay. It was awesome. It's a great article. It's hilarious. I mean, they had a great time. But that's when I went, okay, we got to break up the gaming more. Because up to that point, you had to commit to be there for all 3 days. And the campaign was straight through. So it was a marathon. And for the hardcore gamers, oh, they loved it. You know, one guy came all the way from Germany. If they're going to be there, they want to get the maximum bang for the buck. But that was not accessible to a broader audience. So after that, after I read that article, I was like, I need to broaden this up a little bit. So now we do it in 3 to 4 hour increments. Lets people come and go and not have to commit to a whole 3 days, etc. Other things taken into account. Physical issues, just like if they have bad backs, things like that, being able to move, be comfortable. Bathroom breaks an issue. Motion breaks, getting people up and out. If they're young, maybe breaking into a little drum circle as part of the game or something. Get them physical because they get antsy in the seat. Seating comfort in general, having good, comfortable seats, but not too comfortable either. Mm-hmm. I found when we do games that are more casual on the couch and stuff, people are less likely to experience flow state, unless it's a narrative game. The not leaning forward and sitting upright, they tend to get distracted more and be less engaged in the game, or fall asleep. Temperature and other comfort. Better to keep the room a little on the cooler side than the hot side. Even though some people complain
Keeps you
about the
awake.
cold, in theory, actually, cold's supposed to make you fall asleep, but if you have engagement activity, it doesn't in this case. The warmth makes people just like, they're melting. Everybody complains when it's too warm. Frequency. So as I said, if you're going to do it daily, actually half an hour to a minute to an hour, if it's daily, is actually good. More than an hour, it starts to be a little much of a commitment. So if you're there like 3 times a week or 5 times a week for a program, half an hour to an hour each day is actually a beautiful spot. You get a lot done. The story continues. People get engaged. It works pretty well. If you're going to be longer gaps in days, then you're going to want to go longer. So frequency, optimal is generally about once a week. Duration for that's 3 to 4 hours. You can do every other week and still keep a group going at about the 4-hour mark, but you're pushing it because if you miss one session, it's now a month until your next session.
Yeah.
Unless you can do a makeup. So every other week is very tricky that way. I push one of my groups to that, and it's just not the same, but it keeps it alive, right? And that was how I juggled so many groups. Is I put a whole bunch of them on every other week, so I could have twice as many groups in a month. So that's kind of the maximum. When you start getting to 3 to 4 weeks, unless it's one-shots, you start losing people. It's really hard to keep the memory for everybody going. Mm-hmm. So really once a week's best. Okay. So you, the viewers, thank you so much. Now, John, would you take over and just start asking another? I got to pull up our Patreon list to thank them.
What do you want us to?
Just ask them, what topics and things that we're thinking of.
That's speech. All right, so we're doing these once a month. We want to know what you want to hear about. We want to know what you want more about that we're talking about. We want to hear less about. What topics we're missing. We are also going to be doing some deep dive topics coming up. For example, we're going to be having a podcast coming up where we'll be doing a deep dive into boundaries, the X card, no thank you evil, lines and veils, all these tools that are used to create a safe space within gaming, and also talk about how to push boundaries where you need to, and how to back off when it's detrimental, things like that. So what do you want to hear about? What kind of tools do we need to talk about more? Just talk to us. Let us know how things are doing.
Danielle, Dan, Charles.
We'll be hanging out with Discord if you guys want to come and talk to us. I'm almost always checking it, so it's always hot.
Yep. We're hanging out in there, and we welcome you posting questions to ask us to answer. Often, already we had a couple new people join just because of Twitter, and they said they want to know something, and boom, I could get them a link from the website that they wouldn't necessarily found on their own. So if you have questions that occur to you, go into the Discord. I mean, you can always email us too. What's the email?
info@rpgresearch.com.
Excellent. But if you go to Discord, you're in the public channel, say, hey, what do you think of the effects of empathy on role-playing gamers? Well, I have research on that and reports on that. And it depends. Tabletop role-playing, empathy goes up. Computer-based role-playing, empathy goes way down. LARP, a little in between depending upon the LARP and stuff. The combat ones, not so much empathy. The more social ones definitely help with the empathy, but it depends on the game. So, important to know. Here are thank yous to all of our wonderful patrons. Cannot thank you enough. So I'm going to list the person and then the reward tier, and I'm not going to list what the number is for the reward tier, just the title. You can cross-reference if you care. So, Zombie Orpheus Entertainment, Adept Supporter. Thank you so much, Zoe. Wheelhouse Workshop, an Adept supporter. They've been a supporter of ours for quite a long time, actually. Thank you so much, Wheelhouse. Thank you, Adam Johns and Adam Davis. Really appreciate it. And of course, Zombie Orpheus Entertainment, thank you, Ben Dobbins and everybody else. Can't thank you enough. Thomas.
See you at ZoeCon.
See you at ZoeCon 3, in February. That's right, we're going to be at ZoeCon 3 in February at Bellingham, and then WASTRA, the Washington State Therapeutic Recreation Association Convention, and April 28th in Wenatchee. And then John's trying to get us into Gen Con.
If you have any connections with Gen Con, we can use a little in.
Yeah. Thank you, Thomas Harris. You are a hero to us. That's your donation level. That's a very high level. Thank you so much for your support. We really appreciate it. Thank you, Rob McLennan, who's a gallant supporter. Thank you so much. Rob is out there. I know him through Two Bards, and so he's on all of them, and he's in our chat room often, and he's a really great supporter and helps spread the word. Thank you so much, Rob. I think he's also donated multiple times on the trailer and such too. All of you, thank you so much. Michael Monahan, an adept supporter. Thank you so much. Matt Vansel, a conjurer. Matt Vansel is the author of The Gamers, Journey Quest, all that stuff for Zombie Orpheus Entertainment and Dead Gentlemen, the whole multiverse thing that all this is happening in. He's the author. That's Matt Vansel. Yeah, he's been supporting us at the conjurer level for a while now. And thank you so much, Matt. Really appreciate it. Kyle Matthews at the conjurer level. Thank you so much. Keep on the Heathlands, an adept supporter. Thank you so much. Really appreciate it. Gary Shaw at the conjurer level. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Been doing that for a little while. David Millions, an adept, supporting us for quite a while. Thank you so much. Carly Karras, yes, a relation to Thomas Karras, also at the hero level. Thank you so very much. Carrie Lynn Welker at the conjurer level. That's John's wife. Thank you so much, Carolyn. I hope you're able to. Is she able to view this? Were you able to get a hold of her or anything?
Last thing she said, she asked for my password for the computer. So since she didn't ask for anything else, okay. I'm assuming she got in.
And Amanda Newmanville at the adept support level. Thank you very so much. Been supporting us for a while as well. So that's our 13 wonderful supporters on Patreon. We cannot thank you enough for believing in us at this early stage. A year ago, it was just me. John came on board right around a year ago in December or so, January. I had Jacob and Ryan, and then Danielle, and then Drake, of course, is my son, so that's a little different story. And then later, Charles came on board shortly after moving from a whole other state to here. And now we've got Dan and Brad, and we're just growing leaps and bounds. We've got a queue of another half dozen people wanting to get in here and help us. Thank you all so much for your belief and your support. And let us know, again, if you'd like us to present this differently in our thank yous and such. I'd like to, in the future, have a printout that each of you can take turns, like Two Bards does that, where they kind of go back and forth. It'd be nice if we're each taking turns doing the thank yous. So. Try to get more organized with this as we keep doing it. Any last minute comments before we close out? Nope. And we look forward to your comments.
Thank you again.
Yes, Charles.
Make sure to check out Geek and Sundry, Ivan Van Norman, Felicia Day. Support them as well. We got to keep the community rising up together.
Wonderful. And hello there, David Foxfire, who just joined us in the Discord channel. Hail and well met. He probably can't hear us because he doesn't know about the stream, but anyway. So,
Saturday the 9th. That's our podcast.
Saturday the 9th is our podcast. What time?
Noon.
Noon. Okay, Saturday 9th, noon, we're doing our podcast. We're doing video now, so it'll be a live stream. Now, that's a public one or a private one? That's for our supporters, right?
It is initially. Patreon first, okay. And then eventually it's supposed to become
so
public.
Those of you who are Patreon supporters at the higher level, you'll get that live first. And so catch that Saturday, December 9th at noon. And then later you can catch the recorded versions. So wherever you may be well, namarie, happy gaming. See you next time.
Dream well.